of shiny helmets, spandex jumpsuits, and strange monsters. These heroes force feed you a bowl of awesome that is the Tokudon Podcast. Join Carl, Josh, and Rob as they haphazardly welcome you to the exciting genre of tokusatsu. Now, open wide.
So yeah, I am recording.
Oh, welcome back.
Well, yeah, I was just letting you know I started recording.
Thanks.
Here to help. So yeah, welcome. Oh, I just realized it's probably recording the audio from the desktop. Oh Lord.
It's all the 01. All the 01.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because that's just going to be the talk of the day anyway.
Yes. So I'm just going to close this for now until I need to actually reference it, see if that'll help too.
Yeah. Give that.
So we are going, a little while ago, many moons ago, it was actually probably about a year.
Exactly 44 moons ago.
44 and a quarter blue moons. We started talking. Welcome to Tokudon, by the way. If you didn't listen to the intro thing,
welcome back. Welcome
back from many moons ago. We promise. One of these times, I say we're going to get consistency.
At some point, we'll find it. But
figure it out.
Until now, we come and go with the wind, and
yes,
and when we come, it's powerful.
Yes, like a fart.
Yeah, and quite as lingering.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we talked about, I think we were on like 5 or 6. They had just found the Metsubo Jinrai hideout in the city and all that stuff. So we're going to talk about 01 because it's almost over and a lot of things have happened since then, and we need a topic for this episode. So we're going to talk, and like half of our team is out of commission right now, so we're just going to talk about
quite
01.
Frankly, I actually like 01.
Yes,
I like 01. So it's finally what do I call it? Finally refreshing to have a conversation about me enjoying Kamen Rider a little bit more than average.
We had a couple stinkers there for a little while. Couple
Just
hopeful ones, but a lot of stinkers.
a lot of stinkers. Geo will forever.
That doesn't exist. It literally doesn't exist because it was a pointless show.
As the ending of the Heisei era, it didn't work. And we went into Reiwa hoping that we were gonna be like, hey, let's hope that they put a little more effort into the first one, and holy shit, they did.
It seems like it. And if you hear weird, like someone has their volume turned up pretty high and like hear weird random things, I have the videos playing in the background and I can't like mono it out so it doesn't pick that up as opposed to everything else, because I'm actually catching up on the last 2 episodes while we're talking. So if you hear like weird little like whispers, don't worry, the demons in your head are real.
Yes,
and just give in to whatever they say.
They're oatmeal raisin cookies, so enjoy.
Just make sure you save me a couple. So, yes, we're going to talk 01. And I guess we should just kind of, maybe, I think a little icing on the cake once we're done 01. We could talk about Saber and what we expect out of that and hope out of that kind of thing.
Yes.
That looks promising. So we'll go into that because there's very little information out at the moment. We got like the teaser images and stuff like that, so we can go into that a little bit. But for the main chunk of the day, 01. Do you want to give us like a brief like not plot synopsis kind of thing of what's
not
happening.
Plot synopsis.
Yeah, you don't have to give us the full plot right now. We'll get into that part.
All right. Yeah, he's stopping me preemptively because he knows I can go.
The back of the DVD description kind of thing.
All right. So 01 basically is the story of a comedian who finds himself as the new CEO. New president of his grandfather's mecha corporation. They create robots and they're helpers. So the story goes, there's a bad guy. There's a bad network, Skynet, if you will, that
Literally,
takes over.
Skynet.
Skynet,
It's actually
so
called
to speak.
Metsubo Jinrai now.
Yes. They're the bad guys. They're also robots. They start attacking people. Because he's a president, he's able to become Kamen Rider 01. And we have this great overarching story of his adventure with the characters all along the way. And all along the way, it has not been a bad ride. Yeah. It really hasn't.
Yeah. And so the crux of this problem of, the Metsubo Jinrai, the Skynet type entity, and, Hidan Technologies, which is the company that Aruto, our main character, he helms, is two satellites. There's Satellite There and Satellite Arc. And there are two rivaling satellites. One was sunk into the ground, or into the water at this point. And it kind of created the Skynet sort of situation. And then there's Satellite There, which is the good friendly one that gives you a crisp high five and gives you candy. So
yeah, the friendly let's go be happy people.
It's kind of this weird, there's like a weird vibe of like God versus the devil sort of thing going on too.
Well,
like
all right.
A little theology analogy.
So one of my phobias has always been smart robots.
Always.
Always. They creep me out.
Literally
they weird me out.
Will Smith movie.
Yeah, that's me. Will Smith, the character, me. Okay, yeah. So, but anyway, so the plot of 01 already was kind of like, oh, this is either gonna be like really campy, where like the people who are pretending to be the robots are gonna come off as just hammy, and some of the characters that are hammy are even enjoyable doing it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't even come off as like offensive. Yeah, it's none of the cartoony or over the top cartoony. Yeah, I'll say over the top cartoony, like Geo. Like come on. Anyway, so but so me going into this show with that, I forgot all about it, like, because eventually these robots, these androids become such individuals that you hardly notice. I mean, except for the giant Beats by Dre's on their heads.
Yeah, straight up Beats by Dre's. It's fine.
But yeah, besides the headphones that they are constantly wearing, you can actually see these characters interacting, even though it kind of comes off as a little robotic. But the main one, obviously,
but they are robots, so it works.
They are. So it's enjoyable, and the characters who aren't robotic kind of fill the gaps where the conflict needs to take place, and it's kind of I don't want to say episodic, but every episode dealt with one of the characters' conflicts and tied it all together in one way or another.
But it never really felt like it was filler, though. That's kind of the thing. Like each one serves, even if it's a minor purpose, it serves some kind of purpose to the main characters to further their character arcs. So it was very episodic, and I think the overarching story doesn't even really show up until you start seeing Metsubo Jinrai, and then they introduce a second company called Zaya, and that whole thing. Yeah. That's really where the main overarching plot sinks in, and that's probably episode. What does he show up 11 or 12?
Well, yes, but it never lets you forget. It just there's never an episode
with those characters of the week sort of thing.
Yeah, they don't ever not mention MetsuboJinrai.net. It's fucking ingrained in my head at this point. But yes. It doesn't grow to the point where it's nauseating. It's just yeah. And then there's more and more relevancy given to every cryptic thing, and it might not tie in the very next episode, which is really good. They don't give resolutions right away at all, and in fact, it seemed like during the episodes in the 30s and the late 20s and the 30s, they were giving more and more mysteries, especially when it came to Thouser and all that. And and let's not. All right, I guess we got to talk about Thouser at some point too.
At some point, but I don't.
But
there's definitely a lull in this series. I will say that. There's definitely
it's not perfect. It's not perfect. But
essentially they keep it like it's Mitsubo Jinrai is very much like a background problem at first. I would say for the first 15 or so episodes around, and then actually Jin shows up around 7 or 8. So like
Jin shows up at 8, yeah 7 or 8, right?
He shows up around there, and he's our first like evil common rider that shows up, our nigga rider, you know.
Well, yeah, and oh man, what a freaking introduction! Hold on, we gotta cue that up.
So essentially, what it starts off as, if you want to find that, I'll fill the gap.
I'm finding it. Yep.
So essentially, we start off with Aruto, our main character, getting his belt, and he starts fighting the monsters, who I forget what they're called, but they're Humagears that go nuts.
Magyar. See, hold on. I kind of have an issue with that, because the translations, they write it as Magia, right? And the way I read that is magia, like magic.
Yeah.
Magia. But when you,
but will
the way I
hear Kamen Rider Saber.
Oh! Yeah. But the way I hear it is Magira. You know what I mean, in the Japanese dialect. So I don't know. I'm calling them Magirs.
Like Humagear.
Yeah,
but they call the HU kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the way I hear it.
Because they want to take out the.
But I could be wrong. But for me, it just sounds more like Magia.
Yeah.
So I got the kick up. Anyway.
Yeah. So like the whole point is Mitsubo Jinrai is sneaking around and like slapping these belts on Humagears that make them go berserk, and they start attacking people, that kind of thing. And Aruto takes up responsibility at being his company and his grandfather's legacy and all that kind of stuff, and he becomes Kamen Rider 01, as Rob said, and he gets a couple forms. So this is one of those riders that has a base form, and then he gets like attachment forms sort of thing. So he gets little power-ups. Yeah. And one of them is Falcon, and it lets him fly, pretty typical Falcon stuff. All of them are animal themed. They usually give him some kind of like power that's animal related. This one in particular lets him fly.
It was very Animal of the Week though, for a little bit.
Yes, it was very much like New Form of the Week, very very build. Yeah. Where it was like New Form of the Week, and then we maybe touch on it again, but not really. For a little while there, which was fine. I'm fine with it. I get it. You gotta sell toys. It's you do what you gotta do for the W. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it didn't feel like the stories being told during the episode weren't just like all about the build up for the power up. You know what I mean? Like the power up was introduced, but it wasn't like thematic.
Yeah, it really had nothing to do with other than like, how do we stop this particular monster? Oh, by the way, Satellite there, the good one, can 3D print whatever he needs, kind of Gundam Age style. It reads battle data and then prints whatever thing it can see is like being the most suitable to win the battle. So a little
lightning
excuse,
speed.
Yeah, little bit of an excuse for plot armor, but yeah. So that's kind of how he gets the powers. Typically, he'll lose to a monster and for a round or two, and then it'll print the new thing, the new MacGuffin, and he can transform and take it. So go ahead. Oh Lord, this is
the interesting thing about that is that the whole time that's happening, you're just like, wow, okay, super convenient. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, but as the show goes on, you come to learn that it's not so much that the satellite is the one that's creating it. It's Izu. Izu is always there with Aruto during these fights. Mm-hmm. And you come to find out, you find out that the satellite there and Izu have linked, like on a I guess a direct level, that whatever Izu reacts to is then transferred to Seiya and vice versa. And that's how all his power-ups have been coming to play, is because it's been Izu doing it for him.
Yeah.
And it's fucking dope.
And that's
like,
some big brain revelation towards the end of where we are in the series. But yeah, like it's kind of cool because it takes that, you know, we get this MacGuffin and kind of gives it a reason, but like definitely just doesn't try to like make it any more than it is. Yeah. You know,
it's just the same thing. Yeah. It's up there.
So yeah, eventually one of the main bad guys, Jin, steals one of these upgrades. He steals the Falcon key. They're progress keys. They're the little device that he uses to transform. And Jin uses a new belt that is created, like an evil Kamen Rider belt, and oh shit, something is happening in the episode. Okay, never mind.
No, go ahead. See, call it as you sees it.
Okay, so I thought Hirobi was going to kill Jin, but he obviously stopped because Hirobi has big dad energies for Jin. I honestly would have been real excited if that happened. That's some Amazon level. Just take him out.
Hirobi is one of my favorite villains in a long time in terms of his consistency.
Yeah.
And then when he starts to falter, you can tell it isn't like the typical 6th Ranger style of conversion. No. It's really something he's struggling with, and
especially this episode, like this is where it's clearly teetering.
It's clearly there, and then which is why I think come the wow, what are we? This is 44 coming up, and wow, only 2 more episodes. Holy crap!
Yep, because Saber starts in September.
Yeah, so the last 2 episodes, the way I see it, Hirobi is playing a major factor in it. Yeah. Major factor. So it isn't so much that he's just that villain that just gets kicked off before the end of, before they introduce that last minute villain that they always do. But seriously, it's impressive. It's great.
And we can definitely go over like what exactly that is in a little bit here. I just want to get through the plot. I'm trying to keep it semi like, because we could just go off. Honestly, we could make this. We could just go off. But I'm trying to keep a through line for the people that may have not seen the show. That's the only thing.
I don't want to
maybe on the fence of like, do I want to see it? Do I not? Yes, go watch it. I fucking said watch
absolutely
it, okay?
Watch it. Absolutely watch it. Listen, this has been as best a show as we've had. And let's see, I wouldn't say it's better than Build, but it is definitely.
I kind of like it better than Build, honestly. Overall,
you do?
I like it better than Build overall so far.
Overall, okay.
It's kind of like this is going to go off. I don't want to go off on a tangent on this because we've talked about this in our group chat a lot. But like, it's kind of the same thing to like Avatar: The Last Airbender versus Korra. I think Build has higher peaks, but it also has lower valleys. Right. Kind of thing, where this is more consistently good, even though it may not hit the huge spikes like the other one.
Right. My only detachment is the connection with the characters. So I don't feel the same connection to every character I did in Build.
That's fair.
So that's it.
I feel like there's absolutely less main characters in Build too that we had to like actually care about. There's a lot of characters in the show.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Even Riders alone. There's 8?
Up until. Yeah, you're right. Up until like Aruto's, it is not too much to say that there were 2 leads for the first half of the show, with Aruto and Fua, but it's clearly now been decisive who the lead is. But in terms of their build up and their backstories, it was really they both had equal stories where they were dealing with almost the equally detrimental levels of trauma. So it's like,
and it was pretty interesting to see too. Like Fua, who is our secondary rider, throughout the first couple episodes, you find out that like his parents were murdered by this huge uprising that had happened. What was it, like 10 years before this show started?
So it's what do they call it? I can't remember the day.
Dystopia. Sorry, I love that kick so much.
Oh my god!
Put a reminder when I'm watching the episodes live as we're talking about it, so I might like freak out randomly.
No, I mean it. Hirobi's kicker is one of the better ones, but legit. I forget what they call the day, but it's the day that Arc crashed. It tried to do the upload thing and then took over. So Fua's family died there according
it was like a mass
to
uprising, and then this factory like exploded, and then the Ark took over a bunch of human gears, and he actually hates Fumigear, so that's the nicest dynamic that Aruto and him have through most of the series, even after he becomes like full like Vegeta, and they're just best buddies. But he still has that hatred for the human gears at all times for the most part.
Yeah, it doesn't let up at all. I mean, only for the evil ones. You know what I mean? He does come around to Izu and all them.
Yeah. But, I mean, he picks to Izu pretty well, actually. Like I feel like he doesn't really have any outbursts.
I think everybody picks up on Izu. Yeah,
Izu's pretty adorable. So that's fair.
She is. She's great. She's awesome. Izu. Anyway, Fua, not Izu.
Fua, yes. So in the beginning, Fua was there, kind of side by side, kind of doing this parallel journey to Aruto. It's actually kind of cool to see where it's Aruto's, trying to help the human gears. He's trying to kill them. He's not really a bad guy, but he's like a wall in front of that objective to save the human gears kind of thing. And eventually they come around to each other. Yeah,
without spoiling too much, he definitely has, as solid as Carl said his character basis is, he has that shaken to the very, very core.
Yes.
And yet he still holds its resolve.
Okay, so let's do this, because I think we should just do like a deep dive into the series in general right now. So I'm going to go ahead right now and say from here on, we are going to do hard spoilers. Spoilers.
Hold on. Let's do
spoilers. I'm going to do like a countdown in a second. But so from here on, we're going to count down from 5. After that, if you don't want to hear it, jump to, I don't know. I'll put it in the description, I guess, of when spoilers are over, when we're talking about Saber, because it's going to be pretty much the rest of the episode. So from here on out, that was your buffer, okay?
We'll see at
cool.
Saber.
Go watch it. We'll see you at Saber if you don't like it. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. Here come all the spoilers. So Fua finds out that he had his memories implanted into his own goddamn brain.
Dude has memories that were never real, dude. Never real. So he's sitting here. He based his entire prejudice, his entire existence, his entire thesis of life is based on a fabricated lie created by what? A fucking robot. A robot.
Right. It's so good.
He is freaking snapped. He is snapped, I'm telling you. And how did this happen? Because when he got kicked in the chest by Horobi and he was in the hospital, they freaking implanted a cybernetic chip in his head that belonged to another character that they took, another human gear. They took her freaking identity and implanted it in his head. Holy crap.
Ridiculous.
Holy crap. Ridiculous. This is a kid show. This is a kid show.
This is a kid show. So, like... Going back to the plot part, because we're getting ahead of ourselves, because this is amazing. Fu is so good. I love Fu. I think he's beaten Banjo. Like, I love Banjo, and he's a treasure. I will say till the day I die. But Fua has trumped Banjo in every way for me. And that's a big part of it. Like, could you imagine having literally, like, the basis for my life is basically Tokusatsu and running a goddamn GameStop. Like, if someone woke up, like, if I woke up tomorrow and someone was like, yeah, that never happened. You were just, like, masturbating on the couch for the last 30 years.
And that's where you've been.
I just, like, I hear, like, the spaghetti pack snapping. That was, like, the like, heartfelt instinct reaction I had to, like watching that episode. I was like, oh, no.
Legit.
No. Oh,
Lord. And you can tell me that Aruto is the main character? Yeah. Really? You're going to tell me that? Okay,
well, it's funny because throughout the entire show, Aruto kind of... He follows more of a, like... I was thinking about it a little bit earlier today. He follows almost more of a Showa rider arc, where it's more of his change is more in short spurts, and then they stretch out his normal stuff kind of thing. Okay. Where Fu is more of the slower Heisei burn that's more in the Heisei stuff, and I think that's kind of reflected in their forms. Obviously, 01 has like the Heisei, like we were saying, the weapon of the week sort of thing. But Fua's, like, let's be real, like we'll get deeper into the forms, but his final form is like a straight up Heisei form, while Haruto's isn't. Like,
yeah, I mean, legit, it is a throwback to the Showa era final forms.
That's all it is. I was thinking about that, and I was like, wow, I guess his character arc kind of reflects that too. Like,
I agree about your theory, but I'm also going to state right now that would be horrible if that's what Saber's like too. because
that is not a gimmick that you can play off multiple times.
Yeah, I'm gonna hope that the one-note heroes don't wear out.
Because I think they kind of did that in Heisei and in Neo Heisei and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
like by the time we got to Neo Heisei towards the end, it was like, all right, can we get literally anyone with personality? That would be great.
Yeah, like they stopped that whole bullshit with Naruto after like the first half of the show with him, telling those corny jokes.
Out there, everyone.
But it doesn't close every show like it did. Like
the first probably 20 episodes, every episode ends with like "Got Naruto," and Japan loves puns. If you guys didn't know, they love puns. They think it is like God's gift to the earth. And then, so a lot of his wordplay pun at Naruto because he's a comedian. He works at a carnival or something at first, or a theme park. That's what it was.
And he dresses like a clown.
And he literally dresses like a clown. So he's supposed to be a comedian, and then he takes this more serious role. And he does. I was afraid we were going to get another Gentoku just as the main character, but he does. He's more, like I said, he's not as. There's no one really offensive when they go like full cartoony like that. Like it's exhausting, but he's not offensive like Gentoku or.
After a while, because the whole punny thingy was way over the top, and they were doing that on purpose. But it was very
having a character like Fua who's super. So Fua's thing is literally there's a vein popping out of his forehead 24/7. That is his character, and like
he's an angry Bakugo. He's
Bakugo. Dude. Yeah, he's Bakugo. He's literally Bakugo. He's the angry dude with a heart of gold kind of thing. And that juxtaposition is kind of what makes it tolerable in the beginning. Because if it was just Naruto, I would not have gotten this far on the show.
And then every time he tells a joke, he's holding back a cackle.
Yeah, and that was kind of heartwarming too. Fua loves his jokes, but he's also like,
wait, little detail. So you come to find out that the reason why he finds Naruto hysterical is the fact that, well, fuck it, we said spoilers, right? Oh yeah.
Yeah, we said spoilers.
So his family is still alive.
Yeah.
And he goes to find them, and his father is as corny as Naruto.
Yep.
And his whole family
has like a same dumb bow tie and everything.
it's exactly the same. So the sense of humor is genetic. So it's even more enduring. It's more endearing that
the corniness pays off in the grand scheme of things, and that's what's kind of nice about it and refreshing a little bit. Whether it's a huge cash out or not, it does. I mean, not to say that there isn't a couple times where it's like not consistent with characters, but the payout is there, and they plant seeds that they do cash out a little bit later. Like I said, unless not all of them grow into huge, walnut trees, but there's a cash out to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like as we get into Fua and Naruto meeting and going after Metsubo Jinrai, they introduce our third rider, our tertiary rider, who is why can I not remember her name? Yuri, right?
Yua Yaiba.
Yua, yeah. Fua and Yua. Whoever thought of that was genius. And she is actually a mainstay female rider. Most female riders we've gotten to this point are either in A, movies, so they don't count, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, because most of those aren't canon, or B, they come in the back quarter and don't really do a whole lot other than stand there. Not that Yua is, front and center most of the time, but she at least has some like smaller character arcs and actually is the main focus of a couple episodes. Which is pretty impressive.
There are no throwaway characters. Like
no. I think if you had to pick a throwaway character, she would probably be the one, honestly, because she does get still a little like short-sighted as opposed to the other ones. But her forms are really cool. She's Kamen Rider Vulcan. She's a cheetah theme. She does a lot of running and a lot of cool like CQC with her gun and stuff.
Yeah. They do a lot of gun fu in this show.
They do a lot of gun fu because some of the drivers are guns, literally. Fua and Yua use guns as drivers for their first drivers anyway. We'll get into that too. But in terms of plot, like I said, she has a couple episodes where she works for this third-party company called Ames, and Fua does as well, right? Yes. Yeah, they both work for Ames, which is like a third-party private security firm sort of thing. And I think they work for Hidan.
They're kind of like a tactical unit, kind of like a STARS response team.
Similar to Zect, if anyone has seen Kamen Rider Kabuto. They're Zect.
Right. Yes.
So, yeah, they're like a privatized security firm, military kind of thing, and they kind of pop in and fight these berserk human gears and stop them, and they really don't have a purpose other than just protecting people. So they develop technology that's, like Hidan's driver, and it's the guns, and yada yada yada, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so he didn't. Yeah, so they produce all this stuff for them, and they all use this one collective thing called a progrise key in order to activate their powers. In order to do. Yeah. Yes, this gimmick is cool. It's implemented well. It doesn't look so super distracting, and it's not like jarring what the object is.
Yeah.
It does seem a bit redundant that it has to flip open again, but hey, whatever. So, one sec. So like
gross.
They yeah, sorry. Fucking Rona. Anyway.
No.
No. So listen. We got progrise keys that flip open to go right back into the belt, the driver. Now, how many drivers are there in the show? I think I lost count.
So we got let's see. There's the 0-1 driver. There's the shot risers. There's the slash riser. There's the force riser. There's
raid riser.
That's Towser's, right?
Yep. No, Towser's is the.
What's the raid riser? Is
that Thousand driver? Thousand driver is Towser.
Which one's the raid riser? Is that the one Yua uses?
Raid riser is the one that they put on the people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's the Towser earpiece thing, technically.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. The raid riser. You're right. The raid riser is like the movie one, right? That the people were using, that they tried to sell. I'm sorry. Zaya tries to sell it. That's right. I'm getting confused with the movie now. There's the. Did I say slash riser? Either way. There's the arc driver. And then there's the arc 1 driver. And then there's the 0-2 driver. We're at 10 now.
And then there's the arc 0 driver. And I think there's going to be now a new one.
Arc 1, whatever the white one is.
No, there's the arc 1, and then there's the arc 0.
That's the black one, the first one he gets. Okay, whatever. And then I think there's a new one. It looks like there's a new one in the previews for 44.
There's going to be a new one, yeah.
So that's probably 0-3. We'll see. Yeah. That's what it seems like. So that's 12 drivers. That's 12 different belts you have to buy if you want to be one of your favorite characters. And luckily, Aruto only gets 2 of them, and one of them is an attachment that you can just buy with the key.
Yes.
But multiple characters go through multiple drivers. For whatever reason.
And a great...
great. So not only do you have to buy 37 million keys, you have to buy 12, 13, 15 drivers. So if you're one of those people who has to have the whole collection, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I mean,
more power to you.
So
yeah, it's. I want to keep.
All right.
I don't want to spin off too much into the side stuff yet. I want to keep going with the plot and keep talking about that.
Yeah. So we have Yua Yaiba, who is basically a tertiary rider.
Yep.
Now we have this falls into the same category where we might have one or two too many riders, but they're all different enough where you're not hearing the same. And I think that's probably why they introduced fucking 45 drivers, is because we would have got sick of the jingles, like the amount, and that they're not timid about the amount of transformations in the show too. They transform quite a lot, like
sometimes multiple times an episode.
Definitely Aruto.
Yeah,
but it never gets to the point where it's nauseating. But anyway, my point is
I mean, we're probably the wrong people to judge that, because we'll watch henshins all day, literally.
Dude, so, I repeat them in my head.
Like
so
roll calls and henshins, like I'll watch those for hours. Quick.
So the reason why I have why I want to get the shot riser is because at work, they always do this thing called they always do this thing in the morning called like
Kraken, it's closing.
It's the same thing every morning, but it's like a shotgun call. That's what they call it. But every time they send the email, all you read is shot. So every time I open it, I'll go shot rise. Shot rise. So every morning I have the shot riser in my head at work.
So you're just gonna pull the trigger every morning? That's
every morning.
Nice.
Shot rise. Trust me,
I like it.
It's ridiculous, but that's life right now.
Yeah, it's what we got to do to stay sane at the moment. So it's fine. So yeah, you eventually Ames is bought. Yeah, you find out Ames works for a secondary company, like I was saying, called Zaya, who introduces one of our other main riders, who is Towser. Guy. I forgot his name for a second.
Amakusa Guy.
Amakusa Guy, yeah. He is Common Rider Towser. And the cool thing about him is we've seen the Force Riser and the Shot Riser and the 0-1 driver at this point. His driver in particular, he literally stole all the powers of everyone else. That's kind of his gimmick. And he created a dual driver that does both of them. So he actually has 2 keys that plug into his. And he looks like a crazy gold horn thing.
That's him, the guy. And I'll put up a picture of the rider. His rider design is really nice.
It is really cool. It's very clean, very slick. I dig it.
It really implies his power, and you can tell like it's. Hold on, I'm trying to find like a full picture.
Yeah. That
actually looks okay. Yeah, because these are all like toys, so it's like no, it's not gonna be okay.
It's pretty sick though. So you find out Guy's whole shtick is he's trying to take over Hidan Technologies because he feels it's his right essentially. And you find out down the line that that's because he actually created the satellite Ark.
He was the apprentice to Aruto's grandfather initially, and he's a lot older than he looks. So dude looks like he's 25, but he's actually like in his 40s.
Another reaction input. Izu just got fucked up.
Yeah.
Harobi was nah, bro.
All right, so let's talk about that moment real quick. Okay, all right. Hang on.
It's happening. She's in his arms.
Okay.
Just let it happen. Someday, human gears will smile from their hearts. Izu is dying. Izu is the sweet. Aruto's crying. That sounds about right. Let's make sure the dream comes true together. Izu is not going to make it to that dream, bro. Harobi will smile someday. Oh boy, she's repeating. She's glitching out. Her Beats by Dre are fritzing out. Oh, and she's gone. Oh. She fritz. Oh no. She's exploding. So she's heating up. Her internal reactor is going live. The nuke is about to go off. She pushes Aruto away. Giving you guys the play-by-play as I'm seeing this. I did actually see this clip, so I've seen this part before. Not so much the resulting thing, but I've seen this explosion.
Oh, it gets so bad.
Oh no, Aruto's not gonna make it. He's running at her. He's not. Aruto, buddy, you're nope. Oh, she gives him the smile. Oh,
the classic anime smile.
And the music too.
Turn this up. The music is great.
Oh, the strings. Harobi has no chill.
No. Harobi done fucked up.
Rushed. You have to remember at this point in the show, Aruto and Izu have literally been together the entire time.
Since episode 1.
Since episode 1, she literally does not leave his side. You always see that they are never not in a shot together. Like, it's crazy.
She's gone.
Damn, I'm getting a little bit of a chill here.
It's still hard to accept.
Oh shit. This is a weird cut though. Like they kind of just ruined it by them like walking out.
Yeah, so like okay,
they cut that moment a little too quick.
Yeah.
So Jin eventually at this point in the story, we'll keep talking about the story. Jin at this point has basically defected to Metsubo and back, and is kind of like in a weird gray area where like he's still part of Metsubo Jinrai, but he like sees the need to have human gears and humans exist together. So he's trying to like help both sides get along, sort of thing, but also like most of the time Arc just takes him over.
Yeah, it's weird because he wants to deny that he feels what he feels because of his innate programming. It turns out that he was actually created to be a father robot type of thing. So he sees Jin. Harobi.
I'm talking about Jin. I'm talking about Jin.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm skipping ahead.
I was like, did I miss something where it was reversed?
Oh, but wait, no, but Jin. Okay, go ahead.
Jin. So yeah, he's trying to play this thing where it's like he's trying to be that bridge between the two, right? Like he really is, but at the same time, like he sees her, like Rob was saying, he sees Harobi as a father because Harobi was built as a father model to like take care of kids and things like that. But Jin is kind of torn between his love it's literally love, like it's family love for Harobi and the other people of Metsubo Jinrai, and he does agree with Aruto, like there's a better way to handle this than just always trying to hurt each other and kill each other. So it's an interesting dynamic. Jin is he's inconsistent, but I think that's consistent with his character almost.
His desire doesn't change. It's really just the way
even
that
at
they
the
go
beginning,
about it.
you find out he's very unstable. Like they introduce him by him straight up like grabbing a
Murdering
Cuba
a
gear
robot.
and like plop in the head, like straight up, just Glock right to the head, like. Ooh.
So since the early Heisei era, he is like the first character that I saw with a handgun.
Yep.
And like popping off a handgun.
Literally,
I've
just
seen
right in the head of a Cuba gear.
like you know how they do the cartoony multiple rounds with like the guns at like the automatics that they use in other Kamen Rider shows, but like this was like you see the bolts, you see the barrel, you see all that. Like it's
and
like
then I'm pretty sure they just threw some like bolts and screws on the ground when it happened too.
it's just weird to see it actually happening, and yeah, it implies a great deal about his character, and he has one of the better arcs by far for any character in terms of a villain to a good neutral, we'll call it.
Yeah. Oh shit! Naruto just showed up. So it seems like, you know, Hirobi finally said, you know, screw this, Cuba Gears are going to win, sort of thing. And they started attacking each other again. And then Arc 1 just fell out of the sky. And everyone is like, how is that possible? You know, Arc at this point was basically controlling either Jin or Hirobi. And now it's kind of like...
It didn't have its own body. It was destroyed on the debut of 02, which we'll get to.
So it now possesses the other ones. And at this point in the show, oh my god, this is cool.
Oh my god, it's so... Oh my god, yes.
He just one-handed like 10 dudes.
Listen, it gets better. Wait till you see the freaking final. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I probably can't.
Messing Hirobi up. Oh my god. He just one-shotted Hirobi, basically.
Yeah.
He's full Terminator right now. I love it.
He's an angry boy. He's an angry boy.
So typically at this point, our Satellite Arc was possessing. Oh my god! Its final attack is called Malice.
Yep.
He just caught a bullet and threw it back. Oh my god!
And no, he caught it and threw it aside.
Hatred, despair.
Oh my god! I gotta show you this.
Conclusion. Learning 5. Oh my god! This is so cool. He just created a bubble of death. That's literally what his final attack is.
It's a big bang. It's that
he literally
area.
He just Vegeta explosion without dying. Oh my god, this is too cool. Oh, that was sick. That was good. That's how you do a good introduction to a rider. Let me tell you that. So at this point, Satellite Arc is taking over one of the Huma Gears as a body at all times in Metsubo Jinrai. We'll get to the other two members of Metsubo Jinrai in a minute. Yeah. But usually it's either Jin because he's saying like, oh no, I'm going to go help Aruto stop you, yada yada yada, so he just takes over Jin and is like, no, I'm good. Or Hirobi, who is full on like, come here, Papa Arc.
Yeah, like he's embracing it because that's what he feels like is right, but at
that
the same
is literally
time,
the basis too. That's kind of the crux of his conundrum. Like he loves Jin, all that kind of stuff, but his sole purpose is to serve Arc. And Aruto, after Izu died, just literally fell in wearing the Arc 1 driver.
He is full dark side. He is full dark side.
He just de-engined.
Yep, and
everyone is literally pooping. I've never heard a robot poop before, but I hear him pooping.
But look at the image. Look at the shot. That's freaking good, man. It's good stuff.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, this is full. This is how Anakin should have gone to the dark side.
Right.
This is literally what Revenge of the Sith wanted to be. He doesn't care. He just doesn't care. Like he's just broken now. That literally broke him.
Yeah. He when he loses Izu, it is over for him in his eyes. Like he just
there's no point anymore. That was it. That was the so many times it was Huma Gears are fine. Huma Gears are fine. Huma Gears are fine. And this is the actual breaking point for him. And now he's the bad guy. That's nuts. That's how you do a good Kamen Rider. That's cool. I hope it stays that way to the end. I hope he is the final boss.
It's a theory.
I really do. Honestly, for me anyway, I don't think they can ruin the show at this point unless they throw in like a brand new dude at the very last second and be like, this is the final boss, ultimate arc there. Something like that.
No. Okay, so you're not quite finished yet, but at the end of 43, And again, I'm not reading subtitles, and I don't speak Japanese, but there's enough context. But basically, what I'm guessing is going to happen, Aruto, after 43, is gonna like revert because of something.
Probably
and then
his ass. Beating some sense into him.
Once you see it, I could send you the raw if you want, but I kind of want to wait for subtitles.
I want to wait for subtitles, so I'll wait for that.
Yeah. But what I'm guessing is Aruto's gonna revert to the good side after something happens, and then after one more thing happens after that in the episode that is 44. In whatever happens in 44, Aruto's gonna fully revert, and then the final bad guy is gonna be. Remember a couple episodes ago when they introduced Azu?
The girl, right? The other Izu.
The other Izu with red hair.
Yeah, I missed the subtitle, but that's her name. Okay.
Her name is Az or whatever.
Azu. Yeah, she's the arc equivalent to Izu.
Yes, literally the exact same character, exact same actress, but red hair.
And long.
Yeah, and longer. Yeah. But legit, I think it's gonna be that arc is in the guise of Azu now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by that at all, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was 42.
I think she'll probably take the driver from him or some shit like that.
Probably. Yeah. It's probably to like beef it up to whatever, like Arc 2, something like that. Probably go. I don't know. We'll see. Because Arc 1 is a problem. But yeah, so getting back to the plot, I guess.
Yeah, so we left off at the introduction of Thouser. And so when we introduced a Thouser, it kind of becomes a little cartoony for a bit in terms of the show quality.
Yeah, this is definitely where it kind of follows the pattern of, so Kamen Rider has a tendency to do like a lot of stuff in the beginning, a huge lull in the middle, and then a lot of stuff at the end. And this is kind of where that lull starts and goes for a little while. Like there's highlights like Towser showing up. But after
it's a good 13 episodes of, kind of the same
thing, yeah. I was going to say, it's repetitive, I should say.
Yeah. So basically, the reason is Thouser's character is trying to take over Hidden Enterprises. And in order for him to do that, they have to do Mortal Kombat. Essentially, he has to win like a 5-round contest or something.
So instead of, being like, oh, I'm going to pay you this much, Aruto is like, no, beat me in a contest of champions. So they have 5 rounds, and basically whoever takes the majority, and of course it goes down to the last round because of course it does.
Yeah, because
it's best of 5 kind of thing. So,
and they do random things like flower contests.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But the entire point is to show the value of human gears and
versus humans.
The human intellect. Because Zaya's whole shtick is they have a thing that boosts human mental capacity 1,000 times. I'm assuming because 1,000%.
That's called the Zaya spec.
Yeah,
it's like a Google
It's
Glass.
Google Glass, yeah, but it has a bigger earpiece to it.
Yeah.
So it's a weird couple episodes.
Yeah, and they don't serve anything in terms of the overarching scale. They're kind of filler, and
Metsubo kind of disappears for that chunk of episodes. Yeah. They don't really do a lot.
I kind of figured out why though. They generated these episodes. Well, I shouldn't say why they did these episodes, but what they pulled from these episodes were the establishing characters that were going to be necessary for the power up that he was going to get. Because in order for him to get that power up, I think it was Metal Cluster. Yeah, when he gets Metal Cluster Hopper, it's all corrupted and shit like that.
Yes. So eventually, at some point, I think Aruto actually wins the contest, I think, and then that's when he gives him Metal Cluster. Is that what happens?
No. So, all right. So they lose.
He was trying to slander his name essentially, like because he puts Metal Cluster on him to make him go berserk, and then he starts attacking human gears and people and everything.
So Guy turns into an absolute shithead after the contest, but they win and they take over the company and all that shit. So the whole thing with Metal Cluster, this Guy was working with Arc to try to create. Well, I should say Arc was using Guy to make all the ways in order for him to return to put all the pieces in place. Jesus. And one of the main components of that was the raid risers to get enough people against Humagears that they would annihilate them. And for a time they actually do that. Aruto, after losing his company, he goes full time into like this hermit mode where he sets up shop in this nowhere part of town, and then basically starts over. So, man, during that time, that's when they, in terms of storytelling, it reverts to the other characters and it kind of closes all their arcs.
Yeah, and that's where you get the. Like, you find out Fua had his memories implanted, and you have to find out that they have to have a chip in their head to use the shot riser. Was that true, or was that just something they told him?
Yeah, you needed to have access. That's
what I thought. I know that, because, like, so Fua's whole thing is he's supposed to have, permission to use these weapons and things, and he literally tears them open, because, of course. But I wasn't sure if the chip thing was, like, just part of the whole facade, or if Yua had one, too, and that lets her also use it.
Yeah, she has the access to use the progress.
I just mean the literal chip in their head. Like, they tell him they need the chip in their head. So she has one too?
Yeah, she has one too.
Okay. I just wasn't. That's where I got a little confused of whether it was like the facade or if they actually needed like an implant to use it.
Yeah, you actually needed the implant, and then they fucking overpower that.
They put the wrong SD card in.
It's legit. So, okay. Fast forward a couple things. We close up Yua's because she's been serving Amagai. Jesus. Amagai.
Nice.
Yeah. So Bleach was dope. Anyway.
That arc wasn't.
That arc was not. Raika's dope. I like Raika, but not anything else. Anyway. So she's been serving him against her will because she kind of feels like she's responsible for a lot of the shit because of she knew about the implant in Fua's head the whole time and kind of lied to him about it. And, it was her guilt that kind of made her stay where she was at. And then finally, when it just comes out of the bag, finally, she's just like, you know what? All right, cool, fuck it. I'm going to punch you in the face and quit my job. And that's exactly what she does.
Yep. So, literally cracks him in the mouth. Literally.
Yeah. And that's the end of her basic arc there.
Yeah.
And that's
really all she does for a while. Other than getting her new forms and stuff, which she is one of the cooler forms in my opinion, but that's all right.
It looks good. It looks good.
It looks great. Doesn't do anything different than her other forms, but it looks really cool.
And that's one thing we can get into later is, designs and forms and stuff. But I mean, honestly, she is legit the tertiary character that's there. And yet she does serve as a foil for Fua more often.
She's literally the one who usually is calling him out on his bullshit, basically.
Yeah.
Which is
the only
is kind of
because
Naruto just jokes with him, and like obviously Fua likes those jokes, like we said, but she actually calls him out on his bullshit, like pulls him by the ear and like slaps him upside the head and says, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah, so she isn't a useless character. She just didn't get as many toys.
That's exactly what it is. They didn't want to design as many suits for her. So I think that's the main, and then after that it's just really Metsubo, because we're pretty much towards the end of the plot there. That's getting into like all that. So Metsubo is made up of four members. You have Naki, which is the implanted memory that was in Fua's head. Mm-hmm. She was actually a servant before they took the chip out, because she tried to. Because you said that was in there's like a spin-off series of just Towser. It's like
it's just stuff. Basically, that little thing is just how he started his little plan, and how Naki started to show singularity, and he took the chip out. So,
which, I'm just gonna say this: if you're writing a story, I should not have to watch 12 different things to get the full picture of the story. I'm just saying. I hate when that shit happens. Like, when you hand me a book that's a story, I should be able to read that book and go, okay, cool, I get it. Here's all your development. I shouldn't have to read 7 other spin-off books just to understand your main plot.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't read any of the Avatar books, but I felt pretty good until I learned about them. So
I mean, that's a little different though. That's like literally a time skip that we experience, and then But
it's still, I absorbed the story I was told, and that was fine.
And it was perfectly fine. This is all extra. It's all Dragon Ball Super at that point. Z is still fantastic in every way, shape, and form. GT is a piece of poop. We're not going to talk about GT. Kind of like Korra, but that's a whole other thing.
You slanderous bastard.
You get what I mean. Like it covers the gap between Korra, which is its own thing, and Last Airbender, that's its own thing. And this is just more like delicious toppings on your sundae that is Avatar: The Last Airbender. So that's fine. That's fine. But like, to know who Naki is in general, who becomes not a major part, but like she's fairly prevalent later in the series.
She's there. You know what I mean?
She's literally there. She's part of the plot.
And then you're like,
I literally texted you. I was like, "Who is this girl?"
Yeah, and I'm like, so let's.
I think he actually identifies as like gender binary, so they. But I was like, I don't like, who is this? I don't know who this is. And you were like, well, they showed up in this Towser thing, and I was like, why do I have to watch this other thing? Like, I'm already trying to marathon 30-something episodes.
Right. You know what? In all seriousness, I am glad that at least we're getting the full season. Because of the way life went, they could have.
Yes, I'm very surprised at that. I was expecting like a solid 36 kind of thing. But normally it's like 52, 53. We're getting real close. I think we're gonna end at like 48.
No, they're saying 45.
45. Oh, okay.
45. It's over.
So
it is kind of shorter, but not by a lot.
Shorter, but yeah, like that's. I'd rather they do that instead of having like 3 episodes of filler at the end. Ghost, what's up? Where they just kind of like shoehorn in something else just to make it longer, or the end of Gaim, like the last episode of Gaim. We don't talk about that. Drive. Literally,
actually, every single one except Build.
Every single Heisei.
Except Gaim and Build.
Yeah.
Because
even W did it. Your buddy W did it.
Oh, I'm not defending them. No, you get no defense.
I mean, it set up one of the best moments, but that easily could have been the bad guy before that. But we're not going to go there. Yeah.
So, hopefully this doesn't do that too, but she kind of might. But at the same time, I think it's gonna be more of a metaphor than an actual thing. But
yeah,
that's me being hopeful.
So yeah, who else is in Metsubo? So Maki is the
Ikazuchi is the other member, the dodo assassin beetle thing. It was an interesting development with that character, but it ends up being, it starts off as one character and then it ends up being another. The one that it finally settles on is
it's 2 different actors, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, it is. And
like everyone's a different actor. I'm not crazy, right?
No. Okay. The dodo assassin
the
guy
dude when
actor.
He's just straight up a monster is a different dude than when he's a rider, right?
Right.
Okay. I thought I was crazy. I wasn't sure because like it could have easily, to me, he could have just dyed his hair. Like that's how little I was paying attention when this dude was on screen. Like, you know what I mean? Like they could have just dyed his hair. And I couldn't tell because he hadn't shown up for like 10 episodes, so I kind of forgot what he looked like.
He doesn't show up from his introduction. From the introduction, you see what happens to him, and then all of a sudden he's back again. You know what I mean? So
his whole thing is they keep rebuilding him and giving him upgrades as one of these Magirs, and then eventually he gets a Kamen Rider form, and that's also when Fua gets an upgrade form that we'll talk about. That's pretty sick, and basically is shut down immediately and is negligible at best, and then he hasn't really henshined since then, I don't think. So it really didn't matter.
Well, he was the final thing. Let's go back. So Ikazuchi is it ends up being the actor, not the actor, the Magir, who was in charge of maintenance for Zaya satellite. So they corrupted him. MetsuboJinrai.net corrupted him to become part of them. Yeah. So it wasn't like he was like a traitor or anything like that. He just got corrupted. Then you have Naki, Ikazuchi, then Jin, and Horobi. Yep.
So yeah, Jin, like we said, steals a progress key and becomes our first evil rider in the Metsubo Jinrai. I mean, actually, technically, Horobi was the whole time. You find out because he's in a flashback video that may have been fabricated later, but Jin is the first one we see henshin of the Metsubo Jinrai, and then eventually he is destroyed during, I think it's by Metal Cluster. Is that who it is, or is it Shining Assault?
Shining Assault.
Shining Assault. So his like mid-season upgrade, Aruto, destroys, quote unquote, destroys Horobi and Jin, or was it just Jin? That's right. Jin jumped in front of Horobi. That's what it was. And you think he's dead?
No. He straight up kicks Jin in the first time. Yeah, he straight up kicks Jin.
I just remember them falling down a dam. Is that some other time? They like fall down a dam or something?
I can't remember.
Because like
exactly
Jin jumps in front of Hirobi or something, and they both fall down, and then like Jin is like, anyway, it doesn't matter. And then Jin ends up coming back as like a completely different, upgraded personality kind of thing, and like he kind of starts off crazy and then becomes more like subdued, like we were saying, but he's very clearly like more open-minded kind of thing, and that, like I was saying, that kind of fits his whole like wishy-washy sort of personality. And he's got a new form, which is basically Burning Falcon. Not basically, that's what it is. And Burning Falcon's pretty radical.
Its introduction is among the better ones.
Yes,
like it's actually impressive when that thing is finally introduced.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Getting
and then Hirobi is the last one, right? There's only 4 of them, and then Arc itself.
Yeah, and then Arc.
And Hirobi, like we've been talking about the whole time, he was father figure to Jin, kind of the whole brains behind it, like direct link to Arc sort of thing, and is full on drinking that Kool-Aid. And it's pretty much the linchpin in Arc's plans and getting around and things like that, because he just lets him do whatever with him. So that's Metsubo Jinrai. You get Metsubo Jinrai, Hiden, Zaya, and the whole thing is this, not really a chess game, but just how these different groups interact with each other, and then basically the sides are formed, and it does kind of boil down to, like I was just saying in the episode, it boils down to the humans versus the human gear, even though they don't want that. So and then once Metsubo Jinrai gets all their members back together, we have our big bad of the series show up, and that is Kamen Rider Arc, who is literally the manifestation of the satellite.
Yeah. I mean, Arc alone wasn't the ordinary shoehorned villain. He really, like, obviously the entire show, they've been referring to him, and about it, and you never really knew what to expect. Like,
literally the clip 90% of the time is you see the satellite under the water, and this big red light goes jing, and that's it. And then some bad stuff happens.
So when we finally get introduced to Arc, you see that it's another rider, and you're kind of, I was like, okay, it's another rider, fine, because what else, Yeah. But the good part about it is that his design is reminiscent of 01. You can see the elements of 01, so it's not like not like a completely original design, but it's so asymmetrical that you can't just like look at it and see 01 right away. You see the elements of it, but it's its own fair enough design. And that's just this one, the first time we see Arc Zero.
Arc Zero.
So, Arc Zero is this is the all black one. He gets an upgrade too. Everybody gets a fucking upgrade.
Except Towser. Towser does not get an upgrade.
Towser does not get an upgrade. You are absolutely correct. But
that is one of the biggest shames. I would have loved to just see him get, like, even if it was one of like the how Aruto has his Falcon and all that kind of stuff, and the different bears and equipment pieces. If Towser just got something like that, I would have been perfectly happy. Even if it was just like, he has rhinoceros and one other animal, something like that, something very simple. It didn't have to be a full suit.
It's a rhino, a beetle, and something else.
No, it's a 2-horned beetle and a rhino.
Right.
And they
no.
Horns.
It's 5 horns. Yeah. So rhino, beetle.
The rhino has 2. The beetle, it's like the pincer one, but it also has the top horn. That's why.
Okay.
The beetle has 3. The rhino has 2, and then they kind of like go over each other.
I like this picture here. I'm just putting that there because I saw it, and I think it's dope.
Okay.
Whatever.
Arc 1 shows up. He really doesn't have like a not rider form body, because like we were saying, his whole shtick is he kind of just infects the human gears, and that's kind of his motif. And it's
like a virus.
Yes, that's literally what he is. He's a virus. He's a glitch in the matrix. You know what I mean? He's that kind of thing.
He's exactly that.
And so he, for the most part, because Hirobi's drinking the Kool-Aid, and so is Ikazuchi, and so is Maki drinking the Kool-Aid, he takes over Jin, because he's the only one that could potentially ruin his plan that comes to Metsubo Jinrai. So that's the one he kind of uses as his vessel for most of the time when he's in this form. He does switch to Hirobi off and on when Jin like fights him off for a second, but then he just like beats Jin and then takes him back over.
He just beats the hell out of him.
Yeah, he's like, I told you to listen. You're gonna listen, okay?
That is enough of your nonsense. Okay, you understand.
So Arc Zero is Arc in general. It's just an interesting character, because he's definitely like, I'm glad that they handled it the way that they did, because I think if they had him be a thing from the beginning of just like a dude who takes over all the time, it would be very stale, because he is extremely one note. But it would
have been very Mass Effect.
Yeah, he's extremely one note in the fact that he is a robot with a sole purpose, and like that works for him, and that's terrifying because they've been building up this whole time, and then he shows up and he is a problem. He is the problem. Yeah, he is the problem with a capital P.
Look at this. I mean, look at these. Look at this design. His eyes are freaking
This one
horrifying.
in particular is Arc 1, so this is after, he gets the upgrade and everything.
Yes.
So it is voiced by Eisen, right? Like, that is him.
We were going to get there. Yeah.
Okay. So, yes.
Well, okay. No, actually, before the final form. I don't think he voices him anymore. At least we haven't heard him speak in the voice because it's been Aruto.
This must be the next episode, because I don't remember Towser fighting him. That must be 43.
Oh, yeah, this is 43 right here. It's a little taste.
Yeah,
little
okay.
Taste.
So, basically, Arc Zero's whole shtick is, I'm going to destroy 01 because he's the only one who can stop me, and Satellite there, all that kind of stuff. So they go through their shtick. Eventually, Aruto gets his final upgrade, and then we are here, which is the last couple episodes of the season, where Aruto, as we talked about, eventually Arc destroys Izu through Hirobi, manipulating Hirobi, and then takes over Aruto, which I'm sure was probably part of his plan all the time, because their whole shtick is they can like predict that. So the whole kind of shtick of Arc and Satellite there is they look at 1,000 different possibilities, pick the most likely one. They are literally the zero system. They are literally both the zero system, and they try to out zero system each other. So when these two start fighting, when 02, which turns out to be Satellite there's version of 01, essentially, like it's the upgraded Aruto gets, that's his final form. Well, I guess technically Arc 1 is his final form now, but whatever.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like it's I don't think he's staying with Arc 0. I think he's going back to 02.
I'm sure there's going to be some kind of final redemption sort of thing, because I doubt they would just leave him off like that. But essentially 02 is his upgraded form that is using the processor of Satellite there, and Arc is, Arc 1, Arc 0, all them. Same thing, kind of thing. That's how it was kicking everyone's butt so badly. It could predict every battle maneuver they were ever going to do in a blink of an eye and outthink them, essentially.
Literally,
it's a supercomputer. It's a quantum computer, essentially. So it would think of all these different attacks, and then it would predict it and win. So literally, they just zero system each other. It's literally Wing Gundam versus Epion. If anyone watches Gundam listening to this, that's literally what it is. It's those two systems clashing with each other.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's crazy. So, and that just brings us to the final thing here. So, like, he destroys, like Rob said earlier, Aruto destroys the main chunk body, and I think he destroys the driver. Is that how he kind of defeats him?
Yeah, so the original Arc is destroyed by the premiere of 02.
Yes.
When he beats the ever loving hell out of him, it kind of disconnects from everything for a bit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we have the episode. Well, not kind of. That's where we have the episode where Hirobi does that evil, dastardly, despicable, disgusting thing.
It's an interesting little thing, because, like, this Arc thing's here, but, like, his influence is still there. Like, Arc is gone kind of thing, but, like, clearly what he planted in Hirobi is coming to fruition.
Exactly.
And that leads to his resurrection.
But it's not what they thought.
No.
Because it ends up being Aruto.
So imagine if the Terminator became a Super Saiyan. That's kind of what they're dealing with.
and then that Super Saiyan and he was just, like, really pissed off at, like, just you.
Yeah. And then he literally went, I'm gonna break you. and then just the collective, like,
yes,
from all parties that he's just staring at.
I'm bringing up the forms. I'm about to see just pop a couple down.
Well, we can get into that now. Like, that's pretty much where it ends with the plot. We'll see with the last couple episodes.
Well, that's where we're at right now. There's 2 more episodes as of this recording.
As of this recording, there's 2 more episodes. 43 had just premiered. Like Rob said, he's watched it raw. I have not seen episode 43 yet. So
based on what I saw from 43,
Let's do a last couple episode predictions. Yeah.
Okay. Based on what I saw for 43, strictly based on context, because I do not speak Japanese, even though I want to. What I'm gonna guess is, like I said, Naruto just did something crazy. Something crazy is going to happen in this episode in 44 that is going to make Naruto release his power as Arc Zero and either go back to being 02 or give up his powers altogether.
Okay.
That's my speculation.
Okay. I think, now this is, I have not watched the Raw 43. I'm just going by, the little snippets we've been talking about here. I think based on the preview for 44, I did watch that, teaser that they put at the end. I think Hirobi will essentially take over the mantle of 01 and kind of do like a, like when Ryuji dies or when Ryuki dies in Ryuki, and then Ren kind of takes over as like the main character for the last episode or two.
How dope would that be?
I think that's kind of what's going to happen here.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised if Naruto, because in the very first episode they do show that he has an actual link with his brain to Satellite there, so that you find out. So this whole prediction thing, by the way, it speeds up their brains to where there's literally moments happen in minutes, sort of thing. So he's able to learn how to use the 01 driver in a split second because it's slow. It beefs up his mental capacity so much. I have a feeling Naruto is going to die. Hirobi's going to kill Naruto, but he's going to be backed up, and Satellite there is going to reprint him, quote unquote. So he's going to be like a bio-organic Humagear kind of thing. So he's going to become that bridge between them.
Well, I'll say this in response to that. I see half of that, but where I would say it wouldn't go that way is Naruto will probably not come back as a Humagear, but he probably won't die.
You don't think
he'll die? No, I don't think he'll die, but I do think that based on one of the set photos that I saw, he's gonna either bring back Izu, or that is gonna be what's gonna tie into Saber.
Okay, interesting.
Because that's the way they're making it seem.
Yes. So we'll touch this again once we get back into Saber. But Saber, they have confirmed that is taking place in the same timeline and universe and everything as 01.
Yes.
So the first two Reiwa series coexist, as opposed to the regular ones where like every once in a while they'll be like, oh, in a movie they'll be like, hey, by the way, over in Fudo City, W's hanging out doing whatever, yada yada. These actually say they are coexisting in the same universe.
Which is amazing. Amazing.
So cool, and I hope all of them do, even though it kind of be weird to like. This one is cool because it's clearly like an end of the world sort of thing, but it's not like, it's not Evolt level of like there's a giant meteor coming for the world.
Yeah, I mean it's literally like if Elon Musk went crazy one day. You know what I mean? Like
so it's cool, like the stakes are high, like you can know what happens, but there's not like a huge like event that everyone's gonna remember. But like you may see Hidan technology, like people using their phones and stuff like that in Saber, which could be kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. I think I really think Hirobi's going to kind of take over as like the quote unquote made dude like Knight did. So
I think it's going to be where you have 01 and 02, kind of like Ichigo Nigo.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. That's really true. I'm sure he'll be 02, and then Hirobi will be like 01 kind of thing.
Yeah, at least that's what I'm thinking.
Or Izu or Azu or whatever, when they convert her back to Izu, she becomes 01, Naruto 02, Hirobi is 03. And you just get the whole show of gang in there. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. When we record our next episode, we'll do a little cap on the last two episodes. How about that? And then
that's fine.
We'll see where our predictions panned out. But let's get into like the non-plot related stuff and forms and weapons and all that cool stuff. All the things that really matter because plot is not important.
not at all.
Yeah. So should we just start with Naruto? Like,
yeah. Let's start MC here. Okay. So Naruto's base form.
01.
01 Rising Hopper form. Dude. All right, so I'll find the pics if you want to find like a video.
That first video, so at the top of this little list, if you guys are, checking out the Discord to see any of the materials we're putting up,
yes.
Which there's an invite in the description below if you would like to follow along with us in all of our podcasts that we do, because we usually have supplementary material if you want to watch videos and things with us as we're talking about it. There is an all-form henshin for, is it just 01? I didn't even watch the video. I just it was the most recent one, so I grabbed it.
I think it's all 01.
It's just all 01? Okay.
Yeah, he has a lot of forms.
He's got a lot of forms. He's got quite a lot. And like we said, a lot of them is not necessarily a full form, but it's like Rising Hopper wearing Falcon. Rising Hopper wearing Ice Bear. I forget what it's called. Rising Falcon wearing whatever.
He definitely has a veritable pick of the litter when he needs a weapon.
Yes. And it's, again, they kind of do that like form of the week, and then once he gets his first upgrade, they never really go back on it. Yeah. So like once he starts getting his like mid-season upgrade, and then like his super form, whatever you want to call it, like Metal Cluster and all that, he really doesn't go back to the other forms. Because people get other forms that kind of encompass that stuff, so that he really doesn't need to. Literally, we'll talk about Fu in a second, but one of his forms is literally just a combination of all those original forms. So, what?
Hold on. I'm about to upload a picture of the driver. So,
okay.
01 is 01 because he has the 01 driver. Basically, because he's the president of Hiden Industries, his grandfather created this basically fail-safe, this countermeasure in case anything were to go crazy.
Yep.
Like the plot.
It's a weapon against the human gears. That's all it is.
Right.
Just in case.
So, as a weapon, it has a driver because we needed to make it a common rider.
Mm-hmm.
So, the
everything
01 driver
needs to be a common rider, all right?
Yeah. The 01 driver is pretty dope. It's not so bulky. It is very long, but it doesn't like jut out very far. But so you take one of these little doohickeys here. These are called the Progrise keys.
Yes.
These are needed to unlock, or I'm sorry, these open up and they form kind of like a. See if I can get one. Yeah, there we go. Here, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the whole magazine. So anyway,
yeah.
So this is the Progrise. Yeah. You scan it in front of the driver. It uploads whatever the key is. In this case, his base form is called Rising Hopper.
Mm-hmm.
It flips open, and if you I shouldn't say all common riders, but maybe most common riders integrate their gimmick, and their gimmick has a reference or an allusion to the number rider they are. Make sense?
That's not confirmed.
It's
but
not.
It's a running fan theory that is hard to argue.
It's hard to argue because I've seen it.
Yeah.
But anyway, this one looks like a number 1 to me when you look at it straight up. But anyway, that aside, once it flips open, it gets inserted into the side of the driver. It opens the driver eye. If you see, it's closed. There's no close picture.
No, in the top it is where he's scanning it. So essentially, there's this big circle that is closed for our audio listeners, and then it slides open. There's a big center section that it shows this big old eyeball thing, which you find out once you start seeing the satellites and stuff that it's a running motif for their designs, because it's all tied to the satellites. So there's a big like glass eye in the middle of it, essentially.
It acts like
lights
that.
Up and makes noise and stuff like that. Yeah.
So that's what it opens up, does a little jingle, and then you get the grasshopper that falls straight from the sky. And essentially,
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So whenever 01 henshins, he has a actual robotic grasshopper that comes out of the sky. Then it like phases onto him.
Yeah, and and then you get the base form here. And the cool thing about him is like he doesn't have any obvious weapons. So he doesn't carry anything when he transforms. He's not holding anything. It's just him. So the weapon, or at least the weapons when they first started, pretty simple. They were kind of like everything had to do kind of like a business motif.
Yep.
with his weapons. So his sword is called the Attache sword, or the attached sword, or whatever, however you pronounce it. It looks like a suitcase, and I'm uploading that to the Discord. It looks like a suitcase when it's closed, and then it flips open, and it looks like a suitcase sword. And the back end of it, you can insert one of the progress keys into the back end of it, and it gives it either a final attack or power.
MacGuffin power.
Yeah.
Finisher move sort of deal.
So that's like his finisher if it's not a kick.
It's
which he does
cool.
a lot of
It's a
kick.
briefcase that like flips open and then he starts beating people up with it.
Yeah, and each different rider has a different weapon. They're not all the same, but they do look like
what's kind of cool is they're not like spawned out of their belt or anything like that. Like these are weapons that were designed for like aims and like normal people to fight Huba Gear with. It's just they use them as riders, and obviously they're motif to their particular rider that ends up picking it up. But it's pretty cool because like it's pretty cool because it's just sorry, Beth was showing me something on Animal Crossing.
Important stuff.
Yeah, it was important. She put an arcade machine in my house, so
nice.
I have an arcade machine in my house now. Very important. Very, very, very important.
Very.
I agree. I'm basically a cartoon character that's only talking about fighting games now. So it's cool because eventually Towser ends up taking these abilities, and then Ark can copy all of these weapons. Like Ark's whole shtick is he can just use all these weapons because they're both 3D printers, like we were saying.
Gilgamesh.
Yeah,
he's Gilgamesh. He can create these weapons on the fly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because he's a 3D printer too, but his is the belt, like Satellite there. Like I said, they're two sides of the same coin, sort of thing. That's their whole dynamic. Light and dark. Danzo and wow, my Naruto reference was awful. Sarutobi, there you go. I know I was gonna say Harutobi, and then I was thinking Hirobi, and then Sarutobi and Danzo, light, dark, two sides of the same coin, that kind of thing. So Ark can zero print, can print all the weapons from his Ark driver, and it's all the weapons they've used so far. So it's pretty cool.
As if he wasn't dangerous enough.
Yeah, because the best part is he prints them, uses them like once, and then tosses them away, and just keeps like smacking them literally.
Yeah, it's Gilgamesh. It's like whatever.
It's ridiculous. He's like, I'm done with this. I'll make a new one. So
and you know what was dope at his introduction? If you watch it again, when he lands, the peons are obliterated. He doesn't attack them. He doesn't strike them. It's just when he lands on the ground.
Yep.
The peon level soldiers are destroyed.
Yes, I did notice that because like the wave goes out and it's just done.
It's so good, good.
Yes. I thought you were talking about when Ark Zero first shows up. Yeah. No, that was one of my favorite scenes is actually when Ark is literally standing there tapping his arm, waiting for Guy and Aruto to henshin. That was one of the best scenes because there's always the running joke of like, Josh has even made it multiple times on the episodes. He's like, why are they just standing there watching them do this little dance and stuff? And he's literally standing there waiting for them to get their nonsense over with. It's a great touch.
I actually had an issue with that when after I watched the 02 debut for like the 40th time. I was like, why is Ark actually just standing there?
Yeah.
Because he if you watch the episode, he had tried to shoot him with his finger, and just because it got blocked, he could have just tried again. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was just like, you just tried to shoot him. Now he's transforming. He's in the middle of his
thing, man. Let him have his moment, okay? That's all it is.
Let him have.
I think it was more of like weird enough because it's a computer, and the whole point is humans bad, computer good. But it was like almost like a moment of cockiness where he's like, whatever you pull out, I'm gonna stop. So I don't know why you're even bothering.
It's just like, that's cute. That's cute, bro. Yeah, real cute. Okay, so
anyway,
let's go on to the next one.
I don't really want to like break down all because there is so many of those base ones. Do you have like an amalgamation?
I'm just gonna dump the pictures. Okay, that's what we'll do.
So yeah, essentially, I don't even remember all of them honestly. You're doing Shining next. Okay, I was gonna say all of his like in between things.
Oh, you want those?
Yeah, I was just gonna say we can just go through them real quick because I don't even remember. Because if you want to try and find, there's Falcon, he gets some wings. There's an Ice Bear where he gets like chunky, which is kind of cool because the best part is like he's still Rising Hopper. He's in that form, but like the armor will peel away into different spots. Like the the face mask that's on. If I just bought my mic, so that's probably gonna be obnoxious.
I heard that.
Like the face mask like opens up like in Falcon and will just kind of turn into like Gundam horns almost, and then like the Falcon face mask will power on top. Which we were talking about it for a while when he first henshins and like the grasshopper stuff goes on. He almost has like a Humagear face, which is kind of cool. Which makes sense since it's his grandfather and everything. He did in technology. But yeah, they're really not important. Like I said, by the time he gets he gets his first upgrade, which is Shining Hopper, they literally become irrelevant.
He never uses them beyond that.
Literally just never uses them after that. Like he'll maybe pop them on every once in a while when they start the fight, but this series does a really cool thing where like they don't waste a lot of time when it comes to the henshins, because when he gets his like super form, like before his final form upgrade, he ends up just going right into that 90% of the time. Like very rarely does he ever turn into 0-1 after he gets these other upgrades.
Not even like as a transition. He doesn't
even like do like 0-1 and then just like throw a couple punch, get beat, and then do it. He, for the most part, he just goes right into Shining, Assault, whatever.
This isn't the clearest picture, but it's the one that I could find with all of them right there.
Was there only 4?
So this has the polar bear, this has the shark, this has the tiger, and the hawk.
Which was your favorite?
I liked the shark with that debut, but I think the polar bear is like the most refined looking one. I think that would be the one I use the most.
Yeah, I like the tiger just because I liked the way that debuted. But then like so with the fire and ice one, he could basically like shoot the elements out of his hands. Like he could freeze stuff with the bear one, and then the fire one he just shoots like a flamethrower out of his hand.
It's kind of cool. Like the episode he gets the tiger power up, he's protecting this mangaka.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of
like there's like this Humagear is like this apprentice mangaka. It's pretty dope.
Yep.
I think I found it. Okay, there we go. There's a good one here. This should cover most of our bases.
And then like we were saying, just like the grasshopper, like when they come down the elephant. I forgot about the elephant. He gets a big, massive, like literal Gundam form. I forgot about that. It's very CG and very stupid. It just looks bad, but whatever. Like they all seem to have some kaiju form for some reason. So, but luckily he doesn't use it that often. I think he only used it for like 2 or 3 episodes.
If that.
Yeah, if that. So like it's cool. It's a neat little gimmick. It's clearly like a hey, we're gonna sell some more toys kind of thing. But it's a cool little gimmick. And then like the animals usually come down with the hopper, like the grasshopper as it's hopping around. Like the tiger just kind of like stalks forward slowly. I thought that was kind of cool. All kinds of cool stuff. The bear just like flops down.
It just drops. It's literally just gravity.
Boom. Hello. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's his base form. There's really not a lot to say about them. They do gimmicky stuff. It's really not that interesting, honestly.
No.
In the grand scheme of things, like looking back, I should say. So at first we were like, yeah, this is cool. Yeah. And like looking back, it's kind of like, wow, those are kind of not great comparatively to everything else.
It's very built. It's very built.
It was very much like, hey, keep that Heisei 2 thing going. Here we go.
Yeah, situational usage. It's it. So then we have the mid upgrade with a Shining Assault Hopper, which is just like an attachment on top of the Shining form.
Yes.
Which we didn't for me, really it's
talk about it all yet. So.
No, the assault upgrade is basically the first power up that they got, and it actually wasn't Aruto's at first; it was Fua's.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's my favorite form in its debut, in its power set. The thing has bits, and that won my heart quickly.
Yes,
like the one it carries an axe. Mm-hmm. So it ditches the suitcase sword for a freaking axe.
Yep.
And then
it is also a cannon, by the way.
Yes. So
which they seem to forgot about at this point in the show. Like everyone just uses the cannon part. I was like, that opens, right? I don't. You can choppy too, right?
No choppy. Time to boomy.
Yeah, no time for chop. You boom good.
I boom now. I boom now.
And this is also not to cut you off, but I just want to give more context to the form.
You're good.
They also show this as clearly the form where like Aruto is processing even more and going even faster because it does this kind of thing where like he'll kick in 5 different directions and then pick one sort of thing, and it's pretty cool. They allude to that whole like super processing speed that goes into like. It was a nice little touch, again, looking back on it, that was feeding into eventual 0-2 and all that kind of stuff. So
it's not something he uses often, really. It's not so much that he didn't. It's just they introduced this literally not too long before he got Metal Cluster.
Yeah. So he maybe had this for like 5 episodes before he got another one. And this was they attacked Metsubo Jinrai, and Metsubo Jinrai basically printed this upgrade thing, and Fua stole it because he beat the Dodo dude.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he beat the Dodo dude.
And Fua, it happened to fall in front of Fua. Fua ripped it open like he always does, and he turned into Assault Wolf, which we'll get into in a second here once we get to him. Yeah, so like it's literally the combination of 2 upgrades, and it just gets super cool. And the bits are like there's 8 of them, I believe, and they create it's the Shining system, and it's straight up. Have you ever seen Gundam? That's what they are. They're new Gundam bits. They can make a shield, they can shoot around, they can fire, they can cut things. It's cool.
And it's just like it's intimidating. It's intimidating for them, and I like it. Yeah. Then they go and I don't want to say. It's not fair to say that this form is not impressive because it is. It looks nice, but it just doesn't scream final form. And for a while, that it was almost like it was. Yeah, and this is here the Metal Cluster.
And really, what bothered me most about this form was actually you were about to explain it. Go ahead. You say that first, and then I'll.
It's just they introduce it in such a jarring way that. When he purifies it, quote unquote, which is the only thing that ties back to the characters from the other episodes, during the Thouser arc, it just doesn't do it. It's just something is lacking.
Yeah. So like when it first gets introduced, it's Towser trying to, like we said, like slander his name, and he slaps it on 01 when he's not paying attention because Towser's significantly more powerful. Crazy. Yeah. So Towser's significantly more powerful than Shining Assault. So Towser literally slaps it on there knowing he's going to go nuts. And he goes nuts, but he also gets uber powerful. Like, he kind of overestimates how strong he's going to get, and Towser loses badly. So it turns into this, like, if you henshin again, you're going to go nuts again, we got to stop you. And eventually Fua, like, ripped it off him by force. So he gets this green sword in this picture here that is kind of like the system purge, like the hard reset on it. And before this, he had, essentially, it was like an upgrade to the Shining Assault bit system, where all these, like, literal metal grasshoppers were flying around, and he was doing this, like, Byakuya, like, Shikai kind of thing, Shikai, Bankai kind of thing, where he was just, like, lots of stuff flying all over the place, making forms, cutting stuff up, and eating stuff and all that. And then he gets this one, and it, like, also, which is a cool bit about it, his armor, there's like a silver layer to all the armor. That's where the bits come from. They sit on him at all times, which is kind of cool. It's a neat little thing. So like if he's running low on them, he gets low on the armor, sort of thing. It's cool.
They actually show it. It's not like, it's not like implied. It's actually relevant in the show.
His like big pointy shoulders usually like fade away first, and then like that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's when he gets this like purging system thing, and he gets a kind of interesting double sword. I think it's super awkward looking.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't flow. Like,
yeah,
it just
it's
looks
literally
like
the briefcase sword
together.
Yeah, literally slapped onto the back of this other sword that he gets. It kind of turns just into like, I don't know. He makes like metal waves of stuff instead of like using full bit mode, like I thought he was gonna do. And it's just like okay, that's a cool upgrade, I guess. It was just very unimpressive compared to like when he was going nuts with it.
Yeah. So like you have all that, and then we have what is now, I guess, officially his final form.
Yeah.
Of course, we can throw conjecture on Arc Zero, but for now, this is the final form 02.
02.
So 02 is I like it. It doesn't really say final form. It doesn't. It says new base form, upgrade base form.
That's what we thought it was.
Right. And that's kind of where I will leave it in terms of our expectation of it. But in our acceptance of it, the debut of it implies its power enough where it might not have that wow factor, but it'll do in terms of what it's telling in the story. Yeah. Because based on how he acquires his final form, it did a lot for his relationship with both Izu and with Izu's relationship in terms of humanity, and it it's a linchpin for their relationship. That's what makes 02 special. Yep. It is their bond.
So how it's created, is literally, so the original 01 driver is his grandfather's creation. The 02 driver is Aruto's creation. It's literally, he was like, I'm going to do one up on my grandfather. He was, this was to protect humanity against Humagears. I'm going to make something that can make Humagears and humanity work together. And that's what Rob means by, like, it brought Izu and him together, because that's when you find out Izu is actually part of Satellite there and all that stuff. And she's the one who helps, like, finalize the system to create the belt and everything. So,
yeah, it's literally, and that's kind of where I think they're gonna bring her back on. Gotcha. It's like, because the 02 driver is a part of Izu.
Yeah.
That would probably be where they, miraculously bring her back. That's my guess, but that's not for sure.
I mean, honestly, I was not a fan of this form when it first came out. I thought it was going to be like, so Ghost has a form called Tokon Boost, which basically just is an upgrade to his base form, and he just uses all of his stuff with that eventually. But yeah, like, once this actually came out, it was one of those things where you're like, wow, we've been trained for the last 2 decades to expect these big, like, Kiwami style, super ridiculous, over the top, grandiose forms, when, like, something as simple as, I mean, it's a palette swap, and it's not at the same time, because there's extra little flares to it everywhere. It's a cool little, like, energy scarf thing going on.
The scarf is the nicest touch for me, because it gives it that Showa throwback, and it's in the shape of it too.
Like that is gorgeous and amazing. So.
Yeah, so it's grown on me since we saw it. Like, we were like, okay, that's cool. He's getting a new base form, super dope.
Sick. But and then, it's fantastic. Actually, I'm actually a huge fan of this form.
Yeah, it's grown. It has, and it's definitely. Listen, in terms of the power, that debut, you can't deny that level of power. So all that together, those are the main forms for your main character. Yep. He has one extra form that's movie only. That is my favorite design, but because it's because it's not quote unquote part of the show, I'll leave it in that outer realm.
I like this design personally.
Ichigata is sick. Ichigata is what, and then you get, like, hold on. This one does better, because let me show you the difference between Geo and 01 in one picture. Ready? There you go. That's the difference between Geo and 01 in one picture right there. I just uploaded a picture of the another rider form of 01 versus Proto 01, which isn't even in the show, but the another rider 01 looks like a neon stick broken half.
If anyone watched our, like, movie review, or listened to our movie review at this point, I mentioned how much I really like the other rider designs. This is definitely the weakest one they've done so far, so that comparison is perfect.
By far.
Like, it is by far the weakest one.
They didn't even try. No. It's not even an effort. They just were like, okay.
Fair, Zio didn't even try in that movie, so whatever.
These little fly wings it has. It's not even like... Yeah. Anyway, so we could rip on that for a while.
Can you throw a picture of Ichigata up real quick so we can get off of this movie? Because this movie is not great, honestly.
The movie is not bad.
It's fine. It's
not
unoffensive, like a lot of not great things in 01. It's just not offensive.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So Ichigata is, ironically, Aruto's father, because they do a time travel thing with Zio. So it's Aruto's father from an alternate timeline. And Ichigata. So they're using the Force Riser. That's why this one in particular looks a little different. It's one of the other drivers.
This is the actor that plays Aruto's dad. That's the Ichigata rider.
Aruto's dad is a Humagear. I don't know if we mentioned that when we were talking about plot. Aruto's caretaker father was a Humagear.
Yes, which is why he has such a strong connection to them. All right, this is a good one here. There you go.
I believe his biological father died, and his grandfather made a Humagear in his memory. Is that what it was?
In his visage. Yep.
Yes. So this one I like simply because it has the 02 laser scarf going on, but then also has the raw awesomeness of Proto Zero.
The design of the proto forms have, like, just a rugged feel to them, and you can feel like, dude, that is just both aesthetically pleasing, and you can tell, like, these people can move. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like ugly blocky armor of the Showa era. Is
it safe to say that if we take that cosplay dip again, this may be the one we have to do?
I think so, because proto form for me is awesome.
Okay.
So
that's a story for another podcast.
Yeah. We'll do that another time. So, all right. So that's it for the main character. We could deep dive even more. We could.
Yeah, the movie isn't interesting enough to go into. So let's just go into Fuwa.
All right. So Fuwa, that's your second rider. He is Kamen Rider Vulcan. So Vulcan is the wolf theme. Like we said earlier, his whole thing is being the polar opposite of Aruto. So in terms of his designs, they kind of went with asymmetrical and, kind of like where Aruto's is all insects or power ups with mammals. His is strictly mammal.
Yeah.
I like that the shot riser is different.
Yes.
I like it's just
right out the gate that shows that they're different. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like too much about the only form of his I didn't like was the Kong one.
I have feelings about it. But staying on this first one real quick. It's when this episode premiered, Endgame had just released. So
oh really?
Yes. Endgame wasn't too far from like when this first showed up. So, like, his first henshin is very Iron Man inspired. A lot of his henshins are, actually. They're very Iron Man styled, where pieces clack on sort of thing. And what was kind of charming and cool about Fuwa is the way they henshin with the shot riser is when they fire it after they put the key in, a bullet actually comes out and then will break into the armor. Fuwa literally punches that bullet.
Yes.
Or kicks it or breaks it in any way whenever he takes any form. Yua just kind of lets it do its thing, but he will punch, break, body slam, DDT the bullet, whatever he's got to do to get that thing to snap.
It's really like it's by the time he gets his final form, he's just basically fighting his own.
He's freaking choke slamming a bullet at that point. Like, it's crazy. And so it's cool and different, and it just added like an attitude to it, and that's kind of his shtick, just anger. And like you can see by the eyes if you're looking at the picture, like, I mean, they all look kind of angry, honestly. But his especially looks very angry.
Yes.
But yeah, the Kong form is his first form. His and Yua's are more of like actual forms than they are just kind of like strapping on equipment like Aruto's are, because they get less of them. So it makes a little more sense. Yeah,
and it's just like, the only one I don't like is Kong, but that's only because I don't feel like it was a good choice.
It was just like it felt unnecessary, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't think that he needed that. But the main and imagine his finisher move. Oh,
that was pretty sick though.
The first time he does his finisher is dope.
He does an actual rocket punch. So if anyone is not familiar with Marvel vs. Capcom, there's a character called Sentinel. If you're familiar with X-Men, you know who Sentinel is. And his shtick is he always has rocket punch and then like fires his fist at you. That's Fuwa's finishing move. He fires his big dumb gorilla fist at you, quite literally. My biggest thing with this one that threw me off is when I realized he had two sets of hands. So he's wearing these big gauntlet things that are like big gorilla hands, using his tiny little shot riser pistol. It's actually doing it in this picture if you're looking at the Discord.
Yeah.
But like it's so awkward
weird looking.
But he also has like he could just use his hands. They're more like gloves over his hands. And I don't know if that was just for the actor's sake or if they meant to do it as a design choice and they're supposed to be more like shields, but it's just strange looking. It looks almost like if you ever watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, how like one hand is a big fist, the other one is like clearly just a silver glove holding the sword. It's kind of like that thing. So yeah, it's something.
So
it's definitely his weakness of the forms.
Definitely.
100%. I would agree with that.
So which is why he rarely uses it. I think he uses like twice, if that.
If that. There's a couple times where like once he gets it, they get like a big shotgun laser thing, the big boom boom. It's a different one that turns into the axe, but like he gets a big boom boom shotgun thing, and it looks a little more natural when he's using that. But it's definitely his weakest form. I would say that's probably the weakest form of the show, because I like Japanese Wolf personally.
Okay. Yeah,
we'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, when we get to Naki, we'll talk about Japanese Wolf. But I think that's honestly the weakest form in the show, I would say.
Okay, I can go with that for now, because I think I'm not gonna like what might happen with Horobi, but it depends what they do with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
If it's not the original and they change it in a way, I'm probably not gonna like that.
Yeah. Give me 1 second before we talk about the next one. Okay, I'm back. We're cool.
So we were about to hop into the next form.
So this is where we start getting into the delicious ones, the delicious Fua forms.
Yeah.
This is Assault Wolf. So this is the precursor to, this is what the other half of Shining Hopper to make Shining Assault. This is just the raw Assault progress. Is it just Assault? It's the Assault Wolf key, because he clicks it onto the Wolf key.
Agreeing. There we go. Finally. All right, so here we go. We're uploading Assault Wolf now.
And this is just, I like this one so much. It's so cool looking. It's
very
raw.
tanky.
Yeah, that's what I kind of. It's just raw, and this one in particular, because this is the height of like his. I really don't like Humagears. This is like peak Metsubo Jinrai. I will tear your face off and eat it.
Have I made it clear how much I hate Humagears?
Yeah, and like when he first henshins into this, it is literally the most primal thing I have seen in a Kamen Rider show since Amazon.
It just demolishes Ikazuchi.
Destroys him. And it's so good.
Yeah. At that time, Yua is not on the right terms with them, so they have like their little tough, and he ends up like grabbing her by her face and just tossing her.
Just tosses her aside. It's great. Like he just goes on a full like, and I mean, he goes on a. This is going to allude to something in a second. He goes on a rampage. Transition. So yeah, it's this one's just raw and like it's kind of cool. So the whole thing with the Assault ones is Arc printed it, so it has the influence of Arc, and they're like half connected to the Arc satellite, which helps its development in the grand scheme of things. So
yeah. Anytime they use it, they're hurting themselves. Yes. So it's just
quite
like,
literally, this one is destroying him from the inside. He starts coughing up blood every time he uses it.
It's just so brutal for him to use it, but it's such a powerful weapon that he just has to, because his base forms, they just can't keep up. At this point, all of the villains have gone one step above.
Yeah,
and
he's falling behind. Kong's not cutting it.
Yeah, and he had no choice but to try to step up, and boom. Now we got Assault. Now, as good as Assault is...
This is after Hirobi takes him out, by the way, when we get introduced to Kamen Rider Hirobi, and he gets kicked and all that nonsense. So
that is one of my favorite kicks. I'm sorry, he's on the receiving end of one of my favorite kicks.
Dystopian. Oh, man, it's all right. He takes like a champion.
He does tank it, for the most part.
I mean, anyway, he's out for like an episode and a half, but he takes it like a champion.
He survives, I should say.
He does Frieza in the Broly movie. He survives. He doesn't fight. He survives.
He survives. So Assault was a great form, and it helped him at least figure out his tolerance, because he kept working on that.
Yep. Which
made his final upgrade.
Oh my god, it's not his final, but we'll get to that.
Well,
did you see the preview?
Here's my thing about that. What I think that is it's, I don't know if I can find a picture of it, but I'm thinking that's Assault purified.
It's either that or it's just Assault clicked onto the Japanese Wolf progress key as opposed to the regular Wolf key.
Yeah.
But yes, so I want to take this one because this is actually my favorite form of the show.
Go for it.
So I have subscribed to the Church of Banjo for a long time. Magma Dragon is my baby because Burning Finger. And then this beauty of a final form came to be. And this is Rampage Wolf. And this is Aruto's final form. And this is the one I was talking about when I said this is kind of more your traditional Heisei final form. Because this encompasses all the base forms Aruto was using, all those extra animals and everything. What this does is it uses the powers of the falcon, bear, tiger, all those guys, and puts it into one. And on top of that, he's just a freaking monster to begin with. Yes. The cool thing with it is it has this big, like, rotating... It looks a little obnoxious in the gun, but it's kind of cool once it's actually together and everything. Like, the key itself is kind of obnoxious. But once it's together and everything, it's pretty cool because he can spin this dial. And, yeah, there's the progress key.
It's called Rampage Gatling.
Rampage Gatling. once he spins this little wheel on the back, he spins it a certain amount of times, and they're grouped together. So there's the elemental, there's the power, and the speed. 9 animals altogether. 9 of these freaking things.
9 bro.
Put together.
Oh my god.
It's crazy. So it was created because Towser was stealing the abilities as they were using them throughout the show, and he creates this one in classic Fuwa style. He just takes it and uses it because I'm going to use it, period.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
So the first time he's fighting Yua in one of her forms, we'll talk about in a little bit, and this is introduced because they finally settle their spat. That's essentially what this turns into. They settle their shtick. And he round robins all 3 of those groups on her and wrecks her. And the first one is speed. With each one, he does this cool little like King of Fighters combination. Each one has its own thing. The speed one, he does like a real fast run, and then he's like, is that... No, it's power where he grabs her. Okay. Yes. But speed, he runs around and he ends up getting like a falcon wing, and he's got one wing that pops out. It's very asymmetrical because you can see like the one side is almost corrupting the other. And it's cool because this one side is kind of the pieces of the other animals that are kind of all fused together.
It's so asymmetrical, but it looks good. It flows so nice.
Like it's symmetrical, but like the details on the one side are asymmetrical, which is weird. It's like the silhouette is symmetrical, I should say, but then the pieces are different. It's cool. It's such a good design.
Yeah.
And then like power, he just becomes like heavy and just starts stomping towards Yua and like grabs her, spins her around, clotheslines her, and then he just wrecks her. Poor Yua. We got to find a clip and put up here because it's so good.
I'm gonna find it.
And then his final form is his final attack is essentially the elemental one is basically what it sounds like. The animals come out and do like crazy elemental attack things. He basically just does like freeze fire, all that stuff. And then his final attack is just a big bullet, a big old bullet with all the animals running behind it.
But it is, the build up is such a nice fit to it though.
I would say this is the end of Fuwa's arc until this point. And it's such a good payoff because this form is so cool, and like it's just such a good fight and all that kind of stuff. It's so well done. He was so well planned out in this series. It was very cool to see. Like
it's having 2 main characters for 2 different eras, and it worked. They nailed it.
Yep, and that's why I left the Church of Banjo and have joined the Church of Fuwa. So.
The Church of Fuwa.
More so the Church of Rampage Gatling, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. It might be. I said it when it first debuted, but I really think it's true. I think it might be close to my favorite form ever.
Wow.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
That's a big
Fuwa's
title.
Definitely surpassed Banjo in the Pantheon. He might be up there with Blade and the Amazons.
Wow.
Yeah, I really like this form.
Okay. Hey, I'm not gonna rob it. I like it a lot. It's definitely an impressive form, and the story that was told behind it, perfect. All right, so next we have
Yua
Yaiba, who is the commander of the Ames when we were first introduced to her. Mm-hmm. Her form is the cheetah. So her whole, I guess, idea was to focus on her agility and her speed.
Yes.
And it's really hammered home with this cheetah form, but it works. It's not like, oh, of course, it's not like Power Rangers typical expectation of how she uses her speed. It's really like it's a lot of gun fu with
more so with her than Fuwa. Fuwa is kind of just like, I'm gonna run in there, beat you up, and shoot you while I'm beating you
and then
up.
shoot you in the face. If he's John Wick, she's
John Wick with the finesse of like a Mack truck.
So, but her first form is dash form. You see the asymmetricality of it. It's very nice. I like the color.
Same driver, that's why it has similar aesthetic to it.
Shot rise. But her, again, nothing too crazy. And because of the whole thing of her being kind of the tertiary character, her fights aren't very like monumental.
No,
in terms of
she's
plot,
usually just around doing her thing. Like, it's nothing to really write home about. She's just coming around.
Yeah. But, you know, it doesn't rob her of her spotlight every now and then.
No.
Next, her upgrade, which she got kind of quickly in retrospect.
Yeah.
She gets it pretty quickly, but she only uses it like twice.
Yeah, she really doesn't use that much.
Yeah. And it's called I forget what it's called. Something about the bee.
Lightning Hornet.
Thank you. Lightning Hornet.
I believe. Something Hornet. Either way.
Yeah, whatever you said. But yeah, again, Zappy. It is what it is. Her ability is now that she can fly, and you know, she can shoot bee bits, and that's it.
And her kick is a actual like bee, so it's needle thorn thing. Stinger. Yeah. There we go. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, but again, it's just more along the lines of, you know, she didn't really do much with it. It's just like she fought a couple times with it, and that was really it.
Honestly, the killer for me is like I can't stand flying in Kamen Rider. Like it's always so awful.
You don't like wire fu?
I don't like the CG fu, whatever they do. Like.
Yeah,
it's so bad. Like when Falcon is flying around doing his thing, like Burning Falcon's a lot better because they hide him in like fire. Literally, they just turn him into fire. But like this one, and like when Falcon was flying around, when he uses bite, when like Jin takes it and all that, and like I was just like, please stop, please stop.
So yeah,
her last one is interesting though. Because
it's not really. It's not really a rider form. It's so at some point during the story they get the raid risers, which is basically like a incomplete Kamen Rider form.
Yeah.
It has the air of a rider form, but it looks more like a kaiju.
Yeah.
So she gets this called the Fighting Jackal, and when we first saw this, I was hyped. I thought she was getting a dope upgrade. I thought it was finally time for her to step up and really be like, you know, oh shit, you know what I mean? But
it's her turn.
but plot, it just ends up being like a semi kaiju Kamen Rider fusion.
It's
MacGuffin that they were using.
A powered up form of her dash form. Honestly, like it really just doesn't do anything different other than she has a scythe now.
Which is always good for me. It's always good in my book.
That's cool. Like that's fine. But literally, she gets the form. I think she beats like one kaiju and then just gets her ass beat for the rest of the time she has this form.
Multiple times.
Like the next time you see it after she gets her upgrade is when Fua gets his upgrade. Destroys her. And then after that she starts doing it, and I think that's when Jin gets his upgrade and things like that. So like everyone is just trumping her.
But if I remember right, I think she is now in possession of the assault.
Is she?
Of the assault upgrade, if I remember right. I'm not sure.
Did that happen in
But she hasn't used it. She hasn't used it at all. So I don't know if they're ever going to use it. They might have forgotten about it.
Assault Cheetah would be pretty sick.
That's what I'm thinking. I think like if you get it, if you give her an upgrade, at least to the assault form.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have to come up with a whole new rider just for her.
Yeah.
So
you really don't. And then like she ends up, when she leaves Zaya Enterprises, she ends up ditching this driver and going back to just her Cheetah. Really, she uses Hornet once or twice, but she really just uses Cheetah now, and it's a little upsetting. But like it's kind of just like it kind of goes with her. Like she's there.
Yeah,
like I said,
and that's
she's
all
not offensive. She's fine.
She's there. She does her part.
She does her part. She's got some cool moments every once in a while. Yeah, she helps further the story every once in a while too.
Very good for the plot.
Yeah, she definitely falls off though once Fua, like I said, a lot of her character was like calling Fua out, and once he kind of like calms down a little bit, she definitely loses her luster too.
Yeah.
So
by a lot.
By a lot.
Again, once she punches the guy in the face, her story's basically over.
Yeah.
But okay, so
Metsubo.
Yeah. Now we have. Yeah. So we talked about Jin earlier. Now, Jin had the misfortune of debuting with a very jarring color.
Yes.
Which
I honestly didn't mind it too much because, like, X8, a lot of people really hated X8. I was not a fan of X8 to begin with, but I didn't mind it. But the pink is radical. That is for sure.
It is very vibrant.
Yes.
It is a very vibrant pink. But again, I don't know if we talked about it, but I did manage to watch all of Xaid.
Yes.
And
I don't know if you talked about it on the cast, but we had talked about it.
I don't think I have, but I will. But what I can say is I grew desensitized to the pink. So
yes.
After my experience with Xaid, this wasn't that bad, but I can understand how it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Why?
And as you notice, if you look at the picture of Kamen Rider Jin, he has very similar aesthetic to the protos we were just talking about because they're using the same rider. So the whole thing is they kind of like strap the pieces down from these like robo beasts that come out of the sky and stuff. So that's why they look similar, and he has that kind of like strapped on armor. Kind of, I mean, prototype, I guess would be the word for it.
It's all based on the prototype. Cause
messy, I guess would be a good word. I dig it though.
The driver itself, I like it. I like it because it has that incomplete feel, but at the same time, the pink takes away from it. But I don't think it could have been any other color, really. I mean, to distinguish him enough and not just kind of make it a basic, red, blue, black. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I dig it.
So, all right. So we have him,
and he gets one upgrade.
Yes, because
probably the best
at some
upgrade
point
though,
he gets
comparatively.
He gets so iced by Aruto that he has no choice.
Aruto takes Shining Assault and then just is like, no, I'm going to put you in the dirt and you're going to like it.
Yeah. And then he comes back, and an impressive comeback with this beauty here.
Burning Falcon.
So this is Burning Falcon, Kamen Rider Jin Burning Falcon form. Burning Falcon's debut was like, wow, he's now the next tier, because even Horobi had no answer for him. So at that time, we thought Horobi was like, the problem. But now a new problem comes up.
Yep.
And if right off the bat, he just kicks ass, and then they have that kind of, it's kind of like in limbo where he is a more powerful form, but compared to now 0-2 and all that, he's just like not quite there.
Did Aruto have Metal Cluster by his debut?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like Aruto just gets this brand new form, and then it's like an episode or two later, Jin comes back in this like literal torrent of fire. And yeah, like he just shows up and is immediately a problem. Like he just trumps Towser, who was, a pretty serious issue up until this point. Metal Cluster, like he just pretty easily just trumps all of them. He doesn't really work that hard for those W's. Like it's kind of scary actually how strong he gets in such a short time. I mean, it wasn't really a short time, but like from his death to re-debut kind of thing, he gets a good jump in power.
And then and then now it's just like there's no, I shouldn't say,
and surprisingly he doesn't lose it. Like it's not one of those like he debuts and then,
but it's just like
a plot power
weird.
Kind of thing.
I just don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
like
I have a feeling he's just gonna kind of stay that. Like he's probably gonna team up with Fua and Yua, and Horobi. So yeah, that's the upgrade for him. Oh, he uses the Slash Riser, by the way, which is it's basically a Shot Riser but a sword. It's a different driver altogether.
But we could talk about the other drivers. There's too many freaking drivers.
There's too many. I just thought I'd mention it since that was a different one.
Next, we have Kamen Rider Naki, which is the Kamen Rider that was stuck inside of Fua's head for a while.
Japanese wolf.
Yes, this is the Japanese wolf. Very asymmetrical design. Based on what we're guessing here is either herself or her driver is going to get destroyed, and it's going to end up in Fua's possession, and he's going to fuse his assault thing with her wolf thing. But I don't know. It could be purified. I don't know. But it's not the greatest design. It's very lazy.
It was.
She just looks.
I mean, it kind of harkened back to their like shared consciousness thing to me.
Yeah,
the claws were a cool touch. So they don't really show it in this picture, but she does have like big Wolverine claws, that she can fight with.
It's not a Japanese wolf thing.
It's not a Japanese wolf, but we're not going to talk about that. Okay. This picture is actually a lot better. I don't know what that first one is, but it looks very toy-ish.
Yeah, I don't know.
This second one looks better.
See, this is the respectable of the helmet. I'm not saying I hate the design. I just don't think they put much effort into it. Like,
no, they didn't at all. This was definitely like leftover pieces kind of henshin.
Yeah.
So, and, I mean, that's kind of what she is too. She's really not significant in any way, in my opinion. Like they could honestly have cut her out, and I wouldn't have missed it.
So this next member of Metsubo, his form I've come to like view as like what Hibiki would look like now. His ultimate form. This is Kamen Rider Ikazuchi.
Again, a very proto style because they're using the Force Risers.
Yeah, but the helmet has very Oni look to it, so I kind of like that. As much of a proto form as it is, it kind of looks like a decent form. Mm-hmm. But again, this is just he's the one brother that was the space pirate, or I'm sorry, the space repairer with the other brother.
And he had multiple iterations in his kaiju form and stuff. So
he had the unfortunate. He had the unfortunate role of showing us what Assault Wolf could do. So he ended up taking
literally
a big
that's
L.
where this picture is taken from. If you guys look at the picture, this is right before he is thrown into the dirt, spat on, and then blown up. Yeah, it's bad. It's rough. He literally gets this and then is immediately just destroyed. So
that's him. And then we have the final daddy of the group,
literally
Horobi. Yeah,
literally the daddy.
Horobi. Which is Horobi's design isn't very intimidating, but the presence that every time he does henshin, his henshin jingle is dope, but it's really that kick, that introduction. Holy crap! Still, every time I think of it, it's still so dope. But legit, it's not much different from Jim.
Yeah,
just different helmet.
Yep. This has a very this honestly, I just thought it was like reused pieces from like Rogue or Night Rogue. Like it just has that kind of that same vibe to it, even though it's a Scorpion.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, like from Kamen Rider Build, there was two characters, Kamen Rider Rogue and Night Rogue or Mad Rogue, whatever it was. Mad Rogue.
Mad Rogue.
It just kind of had that vibe to it. A similar color scheme, similar eye shapes, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's cool. He's cool. Hirobi's cool. That's really all. I don't know. I don't feel like strongly one way or another. Like I love his kick, but the actual suit itself, I don't feel strongly in any direction.
Yeah,
honestly.
It doesn't imply that it's much more powerful.
I think it's cool that the tail is his left arm armor, like the one closer to us in this picture. Like that is the tail of the Scorpion. I thought was a really cool touch.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I don't feel strongly either way. It's cool. I like the colors. That's about it.
Yeah,
it's on the same part of me as the other ones, honestly, design wise.
So again, it's really just proto, and because I think I like proto so much that I'm accepting this one.
Maybe that's what his new form will be. It'll just be like 0-1 Scorpion. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of cool. What's your favorite out of the Jinrais, the Metsubo forms?
Ikazuchi. I like Ikazuchi.
You do?
Yeah, because it has a very Oni form to it, a very Oni design, and you know, I imagine if Hibiki was redone, it would look similar to that.
Okay. I dig it.
I'm thinking you're like in Burning Falcon.
Yeah, Burning Falcon.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean,
cool. it's dope in general, and like I like big fiery effects. Honestly, that's pretty cool. So, like I said, it's one of the few forms that like is based around flying that I'm like, okay, yeah, just turn him into a big ball of flame. That's cool. That works for me.
Yeah, cool. Just more of that.
Get this weird CG thing out of here. Just turn him into a ball of flame. Everyone should just fly like that. What is wrong with you? So, yeah, and that's pretty much all of 0-1. Are we missing? I don't think we're missing anyone, right?
Thouser.
Oh, right.
So the not the penultimate, the mid-season villain is like we said before, that president of the Zaya Enterprise, which is Kamen Rider Thouser. Now Thouser is kind of a downer in the show in terms of when he's introduced. His storyline kind of pulls the story down a bit, but he's such an intimidating villain while he's there that you kind of forgive it for a little bit. It does go on more than invited, but you forgive it a little bit because he is a very big problem.
I think his outside suit stuff is more uninvited after a while than his in-suit stuff. I think his in-suit stuff is always great, personally. Like, it's always, it has the same energy to it when the outside rider stuff gets kind of stale. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's the hindrance, because it's that same character trope that made the downfall of his permanent. Because now what they've done in the show is they've made him another character like Gentaro in or is it Gentaro? Gentoku. I'm sorry.
Gentoku and Kuroto.
Yeah, in build. They just turned the initially intimidating guys into the joke.
Yeah.
So
which he isn't going nearly as far into that direction, though. Thankfully,
it is pretty bad. It is pretty bad.
It is.
His whole gimmick now. Yeah, Thouser was the name of his little AI dog that he had when he was a kid that his father made him put away because of whatever reason.
That's what I honestly thought. I thought there was going to be like that was going to be his like quote unquote upgrade. Like he was going to adapt his suit to incorporate like Thouser somehow, which would have been kind of cool actually.
I mean, we have 2 more episodes, so something wild like that. Maybe just a weapon. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, he just needs something. It feels weird that he's like the main dude for a while and he gets no kind of upgrade, or anything. But yeah, his whole shtick, he uses the jack breaker. Is that what his weapon's called? I forget. It's jacking break is his final
Thousand
attack.
Thousand jacker.
So it's literally a syringe that he like plugs into belts and then steals the data. And that's how he ends up making Rampage Gatling. Gatling.
But and again, it just implies more that he is a legitimate problem until they just nerf him. I mean, once Metal Cluster Hopper is a thing, it kind of just his arc is over
around there. I don't think he goes down really. Like I said, he just kind of like stays where he is. He just plateaus really hard.
It just becomes like a repeating where they just beat his ass once a week and then he comes up with a new plan. I'll be back, and that kind of stupid.
Foiled again.
Fizzle stacks.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. He's cool. I think it's a great design. I just think it doesn't really go anywhere. That's the problem. So,
but of all the forms, of our writers, this hasn't been the worst show.
No.
All the forms have at least been decent. We don't have any ugly forms beyond Kong. But so we still have 2 more episodes to finish up. I think we're definitely going to come back and give it a final goodbye.
Yeah. But
I think we should wrap up the conversation with
Saber.
What's coming up.
So Kamen Rider Saber. So this is the point where if you skipped ahead, we're out of spoilers.
Welcome back, guys. It's only been
welcome back.
4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours. It's so Kamen Rider Saber is the next series coming up. This is the second in the Reiwa era. And as of right now, this recording, there's been some teaser images and there's also been the trailers. There's been a couple trailers for it. And so far we are confirmed 5 riders, I believe, and 1 evil one. Or is that including the evil one? Anyway, doesn't matter. It's 5 warriors, they say. Now, initial actually, before we get to initial reactions, let's just talk about what we've seen. Yeah, this is the trailer here Rob just put up.
So I'm putting up the trailer on the Discord. So from what you're talking. Okay, so I've seen this trailer quite a few times. I think first impression based on look, it is very pretty.
Yep.
There's a lot of CG going on in this one. So we're definitely going to see an increase in the amount of practical to CG ratio because the whole theme of this new rider is books and swords, from what I gather.
Imagination.
Yes, there is a world called the Book World that was formed from this great book that there was a war, the pages got torn out, and now these pages were basically the gimmick of the show.
Yep.
It's fairy tales mixed with swords. It's really hard to kind of pin down with just the trailer because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
But what we can make out for sure is that, like Carl said, there's 5 riders. 4 of them are good. At least we assume are good. 1 is a bad guy. The 2 leads we're introduced right off the bat is the Kamen Rider Saber, which is the half red, half white rider. He has like it's a pretty cool design. He has like this dragon motif. His first form, I'm assuming,
looks like
is going to be
from Digimon. Honestly,
it kind of, yeah. I mean, and I will say this about it: it has a more child-friendly look to it than 01. I think they might focus heavily on that because of the fantasy aspect of it, and depending on how 01 ends, we may need a palate cleanse. So
that's fine for now.
We only know that Saber is the main guy. Second rider is called Kamen Rider Blades. He's the blue one. The story wise, we've been given a brief synopsis that, like I said, there's a book that created the world. There was a war by one of the riders who betrayed the other ones, and now the race is on to collect all the pages to reassemble the book. That's all we really know for now. But in terms of what the look is, the designs, I like it. I like this design a lot.
I like Blades a little bit more than I do Saber, honestly.
They're different enough. They're different enough that
I feel Saber has a very like build/W thing going on right now.
Yes,
and that's kind of what worries me a little bit because we've seen that recently.
We have. It's exactly right. It has a very double build dual look. Yeah. But I mean, I kind of like that.
I mean, that's your thing, so
it is my thing. I think that's probably why I like it the most. Yeah. And it also has kind of like that little flare at the end of it. It's kind of like a cloth that kind of flaps out. I dig that.
It's almost like the beast mantles, almost, which is kind of cool. The one thing I will say is in this one, their rider weapon, all the swords that they use are actually come out of their belts. So their belt is literally the weapon, which is kind of cool. I think that's a cool little touch.
That is dope, and I'm still curious to see how the gimmicks actually work. Because they haven't shown us anything other than like the hint of it. Yeah. So we'll see.
The only other one I've seen some images of is a dude with a big dumb sword. So he may become my favorite because I like big dumb pieces of metal. And if you can smack them with a big dumb heavy sword, I'm game for it. So
this is the best image I could get of Blades. All right.
He's in the trailer. You see him a little bit. He seems to be more of the like.
I guess it's just a
fast radical kind of dude. Yeah, it looks like a screenshot from the trailer, but he's pretty cool looking. I dig that. I like this one just because it's a little more coherent as opposed to the split one that Saber is. Again, that's just my personal thing. I don't mind Saber in any way. I think the dragon is actually kind of cool, but yeah, like you were saying, what worries me most is the CG.
Yeah, it's gonna, and there's bubbles everywhere for some reason. So. For some reason, the bubbles have something to do with the other world, so we'll see. But
I think that the yellow one is the one with the giant sword in this picture. Yeah,
he's the giant fuck you sword.
Yeah, so I like yellow and green so far of the two that I've seen. Green has the double sabers. We don't know their names yet. There's the double swords. Then yellow has
we do. One is Kamen Rider Epee. Kamen Rider Espada. The other is Kamen Rider Kenzan. We don't know who Kenzan the black one is.
I'm pretty sure isn't Kenzan the name of one
the
of
green one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that the green wind thing in Onimusha? Isn't that one?
No, it's Kuga. It's Kuga. But we don't know the name of the one in the back yet.
The evil one.
Yeah. But we do have the villain, which is I'm trying to find. Oh man, you have to put Kamen Rider Saber character Caliber. There we go. Goodness.
Is it Caliber?
It's Caliber. Yeah, that's what they're calling.
That's a cool name. I dig that.
I'm trying to find a picture.
Yeah, I guess if Espada is yellow, that's the one I'm looking forward to see what he does with his big dumb sword. So
yeah.
The only other thing that really worries me about this show is it's Wizard's Rider.
Ghost. I thought it was Ghost.
Is it Ghost? I don't know.
Yeah,
it was one of those terrible ones.
Yeah, it's Ghost Rider, so that's
which
not good.
Scares me a little bit, but it's been quite a few years since Ghost now, so I'm hoping he learned a lot and is a little more coherent with this one than he was with the Ghost Story or literally anything happening.
I'm gonna join you in my apprehension because I don't think it's gonna
excited,
go well.
But it's apprehensive excitement. So
yeah, I'm at least gonna enjoy the designs, kind of like Ghost. Pretty design.
Cool. I didn't really see a good picture of him. That's cool.
Yeah, that's Kamen Rider Caliber. That's gonna be the villain initially. So obviously he's gonna either suffer from Six Ranger syndrome or he's just gonna get offed. So we'll see. But usually not often that we get introduced to the villain right out of the gate like this.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Last time I can think of something like that would be like Bloodstalk and Night Rogue.
Yeah, you're right.
So like if it cooks well, like it could turn around. So I mean, Bloodstalk is probably up there for one of the best Kamen Rider villains in my opinion. So
it is. I would argue that he is. Well, it's all the same relative. It's all the same guy. So I'm gonna argue that he is. Yeah.
Like if he can cook it right, like this could be really interesting. So we'll see. I mean, I have no doubt this dude will eventually join the team, but you know, it could be interesting depending on how that plays out. So I'm excited.
We'll see, man.
I am excited to be disappointed.
Yeah, at least it'll look good. Then that's it.
It'll look great. Like I said, I just want to see my big dumb sword man. That's all I want to see. So, yeah. Thanks for everyone watching. I feel like this is a way longer episode than we normally do, but thank you everyone for listening. But it's fine. We covered a lot. It was a good one. It was a good hefty one. It wasn't us just rambling like psychos, like we tend to do. If you want to listen to more rambling of psycho people, we talk about a whole wide variety of topics lately. You can follow us at Tokudon on just about everything. We have a Facebook page. There's a Twitch channel where I'm streaming all kinds of games and stuff on top of every once in a while we stream the episodes, which we may try and do more as we get more consistent.
Things will fix.
Things will get fixed. I'm going to say it, it'll be true eventually, and then I'm going to look back and be like, "Why? See, he told you. See,
he's prophetic."
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. So follow us on at Tokudon at literally everything. We got social medias for everything. You can also follow me at Kaiju Karuru, CARURU, 2 RUs, just so you know, Karuru.
And I am at Stick Mirror Tricks and basically everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 01. It's a good one. Go watch it, dummies.
Watch it now.
So
watch it and then come tell us how awesome it was.
Yeah.
Till next time, guys.